Market back to the upside here this morning as we get this ADP private payrolls number that came out about 15 minutes ago. I'll expand that out so you can see it. 107,000 versus 125 forecast. 145 on the consensus for that. So much lower than expected there. Again, that was about 15 minutes ago. We just got some employment cost data for Q4. Also looking a little bit lower across the board here. 0.9 versus 1.2, 0.9 versus 1.1 there at 8:30 as well. So futures trying to climb back to the upside primarily on that. ADP employment change number for December. Again, that's the final data point that the Fed's going to consider here ahead of what is to come this afternoon. Let's be honest, decisions are made. We'll see what Fed Chair Powell has to say coming up at 2:30 this afternoon. Make sure you're with us for that. Going to be no change on the rate itself, but the market very much anticipating some sort of indication from Powell as to which direction they're going to go not only in May, but June going out to the remainder of the year. So stand by for that. Big tech earnings on watch as well, right across the board. Lots of movement to discuss. Google downside in a big way. We'll talk about AMD coming up here as well. Microsoft holding up a little bit better than the rest. Market helping here, guys, as we get going. So last day of January. It's January 31st, 2024. Tradertv.live starts now. Yeah, there's a big mover as well. Paramount to the upside with a fresh takeover bid. We'll discuss that coming up, but one of few gapping to the upside this morning on a day which started off pretty negative right across the board when we came in. Not a lot to look at on the green side of the board this morning, but I mean, this move in the overall market helping a little bit here. Futures back upside, still 0.86 right now for the NASDAQ, 0.4 coming back in a little bit here for the S&P, but all about these big tech earnings. Google still, I mean, what is it? 5.25% to the downside here, leading the way at this point.
Yeah, and yields are down too, Brendo. The 10 years down 2/3, the 2 years down 1 3/4. So usually not two things you see moving down together. Lots to talk about. Google missing big on ad revenue. Microsoft kind of threading the needle. Boeing also a bit of mixed results. So lots to talk about today, guys.
Yeah, it was definitely a mixed result for Boeing, but I think a little bit generally better than expected, or better than a lot of people were expecting. No guidance from them. No. You know, as we were talking before we came on here a little bit about why that was, but I mean, they have, I think he said, bigger and better things to worry about at this point, or something.
Keep his airplanes from falling out of the sky, Brenda.
Exactly. A few people are mentioning this Remark Holdings. I saw this morning as well, deal with Microsoft yesterday. So one to watch again today, guys, but all about big tech to get going. Good morning.
Well, good morning. Although that mark, man, that got cut in half. You got to take your profit on those things. Literally cut in half from yesterday's highs. But you know what? This is this is probably the busiest day of the trading day of the year so far. You're going to get the Fed a little bit later. We know the drill when it comes to that. No rate hike, you know, or cut. There's nothing going to happen. It's going to be no change. So when Powell hits the podium, what's he going to say about GDP? Any kind of hint that you get about possible cuts? That's all you want to see. What's the economy doing? What are they looking for? That's going to be 2:30 when he hits the podium. Now we just got a wealth of earnings to get through. And there's a lot of them. And oddly enough, the one that's up today is the one that missed across the board. I think Adara was hunting and found like one positive thing in the Starbucks report. But Starbucks, they're the ones that are up 5%. Sometimes it's just enough bad news, and it's like it can't get any worse in the short term. So they're up to 5%. Totally true about Microsoft, man. Microsoft, there was nothing to hate about it. Probably just down even a little bit that it is because of where it came from. But AMD probably went too far too fast. It was 57% in the poll, 100% on the desk here, but there's only two of us, thinking AMD would come to the downside. But I am a little surprised that Alphabet is percentage-wise making the same move. I would have made the guess that AMD would have been more volatile, so kind of wrong there.
Yeah, I'm glad that everyone asked yesterday about AMD and people are saying calls or puts, mentioned puts, so I think that's a good one. And then also the trade that's working is Boeing. We talked about that, buying this at $200. You got it yesterday. We talked about this in the afternoon, and it's a trade that I've broken down on the podcast. We've broken it down here many, many times. Thank you so much. There it is. Yeah, we have both. You never know, podcast or recap. But yeah, and I want to thank everybody yesterday and Brian Shannon. We had the best. I mean, every day is getting bigger and better, right? But we had the best market recap show of all time. We actually had more viewers on the recap show than we did on the afternoon show. So I want to thank everybody for that as well. So thank you so much. It was a great opportunity to give everybody the earnings. And the trade that I liked was Boeing against this 175. Buy it down here at 200 and then get back up to the upside. I think we wanted to wait. So now you can sort of step in. You get a better report there today. It's holding up that 2%. And now you can start to buy that strategy if you like it. I think we get back up to the 50 period and possibly even higher than that. So we'll wait to see on Boeing. But yeah, just working on the sticky note, and it will be out shortly. Again, thanks to everybody. The Midday show had great responses yesterday as well. So just thank you so much for everybody. Continue to support us, but make sure you do this.
Hola. Like and subscribe today.
And like Sharif, we will all be catching the podcast this weekend. So make sure that you check that out.
Wait, there's a podcast?
Yeah.
I hadn't heard. Let's talk. I mean, there's a long list to discuss here this morning. This is just the beginning of it, but one of the biggest days as far as this earnings reporting season is concerned. I mean, interesting names all across the board. I mean, this Paramount deal is kind of interesting as well. If you missed it, Bloomberg reporting that media mogul Byron Allen making a $14.3 billion offer to buy PARA. So if you're wondering why that's up about 15% currently, that is the reason. Nothing has happened as far as the actual deal is concerned, but just a bit at this point.
And people will recall that Byron Allen is the individual that was trying to get a stake in Disney. He was trying to outmaneuver Trian fund there, I believe, mid last year. So obviously trying to get into another similar deal here with Paramount, another legacy deal. We'll have to wait and see what the board says there. I'm reading a little comment here. We believe this $30 billion offer, which includes debt and equity, is the best solution for all the Paramount Global shareholders, and the bid should be taken seriously and pursued, Brendo, Allen said in a statement.
They have you seen Yellowstone?
No.
I think that's like one of the only headline type TV shows on Paramount Plus. I don't actually have it, but Yellowstone's actually pretty good.
Interesting.
Kevin Costner. Yeah, I mean, there's Tesla here too, guys. There's a court decision that went against Elon and his $58 billion compensation plan from a Delaware court, essentially saying that's insane and he doesn't need to have that much. So Tesla downside here in a pretty big way this morning as well, guys.
Yeah, my wife watches Yellowstone, I'm pretty sure. I've never seen it, but who knows? I mean, I've heard good things about it, but I don't know if I'm going to be trading some para today. I suppose if it fell enough, when you get an offer to buy, if it dips too far, usually you want to try to put a floor on it and catch a bid in the first hour. But that's something we'll look at after the first opening rush. Tesla, on the other hand, and the EV names in play. Elon's classic response, of course, why would anyone incorporate in Delaware? Because they disagreed with his package. But at the end of the day, Tesla and that 180 could be on another collision course if you trust the gap to the downside that we're seeing right now. So it's 3% down. It was a decent rally for a couple of days off that 180 level, kind of topping out yesterday. I mean, everything is looking relatively weak right now. The NASDAQ just turned red, and the ES, just turned red again underneath that 1% mark. So if you are rolling over, I like those afternoon levels, but I'm beginning to doubt whether we're going to get a chance to see them up at the 191, 192. So decent chance that we could be testing 182 and 180. Those are the support levels after the earnings bounce. We like earning levels because that's where you get price discovery. So when you get back to those types of levels, I think they're valid as always when looking at Tesla across the board, these EV names which are trying to find bottoms. Rivian found one at 15. Get back down there again, I think there's a chance for a dip buy. But you know what? I don't know how much that story really is the catalyst for Tesla here. It's an interesting subplot to follow along with. But at the end of the day, the concern with the EV space is if rates are going to be higher for a little bit longer, we're not going to get the cuts as early as we thought we were. That was generally seen as bad for all of these EV companies because they're just trying to play out strings. Some aren't going to work out. So what do we have tonight? If you get an indication from Powell that they aren't going to be cutting, if that moves from 50-50 in March, if that moves to lower percentage, then these all look really bad. I'm talking the Rivians and the Lucids, well, that might squeeze, and the Nikola, all of them. Like, that's really bad for them. So in the afternoon, I think these EV names are going to be very much in play if Powell doesn't give us what we want to hear.
All right. You know, in the honest moment of the day here, I will not be trading Paramount, nor have I looked at it. I just want to tell everybody here that $40, this is what happens when deals obviously fall apart. Right, iRobot, we were talking about this last night because traders stay late, so I was with Obi. We were talking about, you know, deals that break down. And I mean, this name completely fell apart with Amazon, right? I don't think that you're gonna have, I mean, I'm just hoping that Paramount, you know, will try to rally a little bit here with Disney, so on and so forth, you know, help sort of the media side of things. But again, it's a nice move up. We'll see. It's up 12%. It was up more than that earlier on. So we'll wait for this. But I don't know. I don't really trade this. It looks like there's support down here at 15. You just got to keep your ear to the ground. A name that's pulled back a little bit off earnings. Whoa. Was Netflix. Netflix is, I mean, it hasn't pulled up too much, but, you know, 570, 580, that top of 582 back down to 561. So Netflix today holding up okay, much better than the market so far. But this name could, I don't know, I was just, whenever I think about Paramount, I think about Netflix and Disney, stocks that we may actually trade. This name, you know, could fall back in as well into 500 and 520 or so, right? I mean, this name's performing well, but if you look at Netflix versus Disney, I mean, Disney's up from $80 to $96. You know, so it's had quite a nice run here since the 1st of January, 90 to 97 here. This is the one that I'm most focused on. We had Brian Shannon on last night on the recap show, and again, we will, you know, keep talking about it, but he liked Disney for the long. I like Disney long here as well. So I feel like if there's any sort of a, you know, dip into any of these names, this 95.50 area or so for Disney today is something I'm looking at. But hey, man, we're getting ready for the sticky note to be launched. So get ready for that in just a couple minutes.
I was just going through the Fed funds tool ahead of this afternoon, and I mean, there's still, as I was talking to Frank about this yesterday, there's still 150 basis points worth of cuts priced in by the end of the year. So, I mean, at some point they got to do something according to, you know, what the market is pricing in. So it remains to be seen whether it's going to be March, whether it'll be May or June at this point. We'll see if we get, you know, the projections along with this statement this afternoon and what those look like, if they've changed since the last time, and the reaction from the overall market. But I think a lot hanging on this meeting today.
Yeah, no, as we're doing a little bit of reading yesterday about what analysts are expecting with respect to this speech, and it's widely anticipated that he's going to be a bit more hawkish this time around. He was quite dovish last time, in addition to the dot plot that also helped markets propel, I believe, another 10% by the end of the year since he released that. So we'll have to wait and see. Nothing really expected with respect to interest rates. We know it's going to be a hold. It's just going to be whether it's going to be a March or June cut.
All right, it was AI spending. That was a bit of a theme after the close yesterday from Microsoft and Google, both coming out saying that it's going to cost more on the infrastructure side to get to where they need to be to really ramp up the AI side of things. So the market not tremendously happy about hearing that.
Which
just the fact that both Microsoft and Google came out with the same themes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They're going to have to put more money towards AI.
Well, you had a decent move here in the cloud segment, in the intelligent cloud segment with respect to Microsoft. They had about 27.7% growth for AI within Azure, so it's not a bad look there. Google continued to grow as well, but yeah, like you said, CapEx on those bad boys, having to buy those NVIDIA chips, having to buy and lease out the data centers is obviously costing a lot.
Dan Ives, meanwhile, Wedbush is, I mean, he's starting to get a bit of a following, I think, as far as being one of the more notable analysts.
Oh, yeah.
With a very positive note this morning on a quote-unquote masterpiece quarter for Satya Nadella and Microsoft. There's mostly positive names right across, or analyst moves this morning. Barclays, Macquarie, Raymond James, just to name a few. Wells Fargo as well. All maintaining overweight on Microsoft and Google, guys. So yeah, some question marks, but I mean, they are what they are.
And he was on Last Call yesterday on CNBC, and he was quite bullish on everything, most bullish on Apple. He was really pounding the table on Apple yesterday, saying that, you know, the projections for the Vision Pro being the $400,000 to $600,000 range, in addition to the AI story that's still yet to materialize on Apple. So he did like what Google and Microsoft had to say, but he was really pounding the desk on it.
Yeah, that's going to be the big one. And, you know, they will come to the game at some point, and typically when they do, they are the best at it.
We're going to come to the game. Well, we come to the game this week because it's not over just yet. Now, analysts are one thing, but around here, we're for you guys. And so I want to get to this just really quickly. Shane D, appreciate the super chat there. You're asking about Rev B. Quick thoughts on Rev B. Look, when you do the reverse dance, and sometimes you get that breakout on low float, it can be fantastic and all that good stuff, but just have a look-see at what has happened today in the pre-market, yesterday more or less all day since that split. When you make that first initial bottom, you've got to be careful when that goes, because I'll pull up a chart of AMC in a second, but if this breaks, who knows where the bottom could be. So the only thing I'd be concerned about is, can it hold $7.50 or $8? The volume's not there in the pre-market right now. I mean, relative to when it was like a mover. In addition to that, the spread is it's a 50-cent spread on this stock as well on Rev B. So I'd be very, very concerned with 750 holding. And it's simply because when these things try to go squeezing after a reverse split, I'm just using AMC as an example because I know it'll make the point. When it gives up the first low that gets made post-split, a lot of times it's really ugly. AMC did that. When it gave up its second low, it wasn't good either. So that's what Rev B would be dealing with right now. I think that's going to be a little bit of concern for them. I mean, as far as Apple goes, I mean, I don't know. Like, it was in the penalty box. I still think it's in the penalty box. You had the rollover from 200. You've got the lower high. It was never really too far, too fast. If anything, it was just sort of skimming the top and running into a little bit of trouble. And the shorts have been pretty good the last couple of days. Like anytime it gets above 190, it's just turned into like a chop fest, and then now a trend back into the downside. Now there was a seller at about 11 o'clock-ish till about 11:40 or something like that, right at 189, like 189 and a dime. That was the only trade I had because they just held it there for a decent amount of time. And then you saw it roll back over. So that's where I want to be a seller. It's not relatively weak today. It's not relatively weak today because it's Amazon. It's Alphabet Day. It's AMD Day. It's the chips. That's what's moving the markets. And it had that big flush yesterday's trade. But that doesn't mean not still thinking in the same direction as before. Of course, a lot can change when we actually get their numbers tomorrow.
Yeah, I want to look. I mean, I recently bought Apple at 186, and I think the consumer is going to be in a little bit of trouble. But thing is, we had mentioned earlier that Starbucks, I thought Starbucks would have been a worse report, but they came out and crushed it, man. 39,000 stores, absolutely insane, Starbucks, man. That is working. New CEO there. I actually think you can buy Starbucks right here, right now. We'll talk about that as we get going. But 180 is a great level for Apple. I expect to see that on Thursday. So we'll move off of that. AMD, Google, Microsoft, they're all the best. We're going to have a rundown in a couple seconds where we're going to go over all of these, so I'm going to save the good for that. You can go get, they're all on the sticky note, all of them, obviously. And these are the names that I'll be trading. I don't like to trade too many names on earnings, but the thing about Microsoft is it was a banger. I love this. I love the quarter. I didn't even know that about Dan Ives. We wrote down here that we're willing to even take this top break. So that's how much we like Microsoft. It had a monster run into the print. This is my number one holding long term. Continues to work out. It's the number one market cap spot in the world there. Currently overtook Apple there. The largest holding in the S&P, the largest holding in the NASDAQ 100. It just continues to make moves, and it's at highs, and it's not going any lower. So I want to sit down here. If we can buy these dips, great. We might have to buy 404s, and we may have to break higher near 411. So go find the sticky note. you know, the trades are there. They're the trades that I'll be making. I hope you guys have fun today.
Of positive notes here for Plug Power, up more than 8%. It was yesterday that this actually came out, but they secured a $1.6 billion loan facility from the Department of Energy. So we get notes from TD, BTIG, RBC Capital, HSBC, and BMO. Oh, and Jefferies as well, all positive on Plug, up 8% here this morning.
There's such a push, Brendo, to find an alternative for battery-powered electric vehicles and some other parallel technology. So a good investment there. Yeah, like you said, Roth MKM upgrading this bad boy from neutral to buy, increasing the price target from 4.5 to 9, basically projecting 140% upside based on the current price. So we'll have to wait and see how it's trading, up almost 9%.
Yeah, I was just going to say, yeah, never mind 8. It's now 9%, holding on to $4 here, guys.
Today when it came out on the midday, we talked about one of the things you look for in a short squeeze, shorts needing to cover somewhere. So when Plug Power, when you look at the daily chart, and well, we talked about a few things. One of them is you need to have a short flow. Plug Power is 30% short. And that's just based on the estimate here on my Trade Ideas platform. So whether it's 35 or 27 or whatever, it's 30% is obviously going to be pretty big. So as they look to unwind, potentially, thank you very much, Randy. That was a good one. It was really
Your
sneaky.
screen on your watch?
Crap.
Oh, no. No, it's all good.
That was a good one. You actually got me. You moving? Oh, you're just keeping them. Okay. Well, the reason why it was bear. Well, no. The reason it was bear versus bull is because of the little on Friday they set that the picnic up. They were eating.
Randy wasn't here Friday.
Oh, you weren't here Friday? They had a little picnic going on, so. I haven't changed it because in case we do something like that again. There's really nothing, no thought put behind it right now. So Plug squeezes on the daily chart. It's already got $5 as an obvious level. I think that sticks out like a sore thumb. Like this is $5 here. Like that's pretty significant. If it gets through 5, I think it's got a real chance. There is a level which is already gone, which would have been, oddly enough, right about $3.90. You could call it $4, but that's where it's challenging now. So you're essentially gapping up above that. And because you're not there in market trading, I need to see buyers at the open holding a $4 level, and then you can go squeezing onto the $5 level. So probably a watch at 9 o'clock, or 9:30 at the open. If it holds 4, run to 5. But 5 is the bigger level. If it's today or tomorrow, I think that's the one that has to go.
Yeah. So, I wasn't saying that to you. I was saying that to Adair. We're getting ready for upgrades and downgrades in a second. But I just want to say yesterday, I mentioned it when I walked in here today. I did sell some Bitcoin yesterday. I don't know. What we can buy, we just sold some. Not raising capital really for anything. I want to switch it over into some Ethereum at some point. So I want to try to get some cash now in case we do dip back in below. It's just this 45,000. You know, we've done really well on Bitcoin this year. I mean, we came in on Halloween right here and was acting like a fool, pumping Bitcoin all the way here. That had nothing to do with anything other than Halloween. And then the move into the acceptance of the ETFs, which ticked high to 50,000. I mean, this has 48,969 as the high. This is Binance. So, I'm looking at crypto right now. We called the top on Coinbase. It made the move down in. It looks a lot like this. I have no idea what these moving averages are, but it looks like it bounced off the 100 period right here. This is a daily chart. I don't know anything about that. But anyways, I just want to tell people that because I tell you guys when I buy, I tell you guys when I sell. So I did sell some more Bitcoin, not more. This is the first time I've sold it right here. I just think 45 is a nice spot. So let's see what happens here with Bitcoin. Would love to buy this back. We talked about it again on the podcast, and we talked about the levels could be 38 to 36,000. It dips down into 38 right there. Obviously, we weren't sitting there buying it. If I told you I got long there, then you would that definitely would be lying. I am waiting for something in here though. 36. If it gets down there, then we'll rebuy back some BTC. And I just think it's a longer term play here. But again, we have some exposure to it. So let's get some out. That's Bitcoin, and that's Adara over at the screen. Let's go find some upgrades and downgrades.
Really interesting look here today. Plug Power starting it off. Sharif and Brendan mentioning this one over at the desk as well. A couple analyst notes on this. Roth FKM, though, upgrading with the $9 price target. Stryker here getting an upgrade from Canaccord Genuity. They reported earnings earlier this week. Tech Target here getting an upgrade from UBS, trading quite a bit higher here. And Skyworks, last but not least, another earnings name from this week, getting an upgrade from TD Cowen. UPS, after reporting yesterday, getting a downgrade here from Argus. Toyota getting a downgrade from Nomura. Vertex getting a downgrade from Maxim Group. And last but not least, CF Industries getting a downgrade from UBS, guys.
Okay, so we just talked about Plug Power, so and they got the upgrade, but there were like a bajillion analyst upgrades on Microsoft, which I guess we're gonna get to Microsoft obviously with earnings, but price target increases for Microsoft because I feel like it was really just everyone raising their price targets. And when I say everybody, I just stopped counting the list when I realized
you said there's like 10 or 12 of them.
It was double digits. So like, don't get me wrong, like I'm not that lazy, but like if it's 6 analysts that raise their price target, then I'll say 6 because I'll eyeball it. But when it's double digits, I'm not going to waste my time. It was a lot of people that wanted to raise their price targets after the great quarter that Microsoft has. But UPS is the one that's, languishing. It's trying to find a bottom here, and obviously when you go post earnings, things need to settle down. So maybe it hasn't found any kind of a low. In terms of any significant level, I just look back to, this is November, you had this top in here at like 143, and then when it finally broke out, things were good, so maybe it finds a bottom somewhere around there. So it's trying to make a bottoming pattern. That could be interesting this week. Clearly it hasn't held any kind of a double bottom. You have yesterday's low. If that holds today, then you've got something here at 144. But yeah, on that list, I would say the one that's not there is the one that we're most interested in from the analysts, and how that's the reaction to Microsoft, because it was quite positive.
You know what? Something that's not on the sticky note or not on the watch list that I think should have been on the watch list. It's not, the watch list is loaded. It's not like we're going to replace anything. Just another important note from today is Walmart. Walmart's reverse splitting, or splitting, not reverse splitting. Reverse splitting. Yeah, they're going to $1,000. But there goes Walmart. Nice move up to the upside here. So, I'm not in this name. It's not near. Well, it's near its high. Why not? 170, 171. I think you can go ahead and buy Walmart now on that split news. But the only problem is, I don't know how long they've been talking about that. If that's a fresh story, then I think we can go higher.
It's the first I've heard of it. I
heard
that's
what I mean.
I saw it. That's the first I heard.
Yeah, I saw it flip in last night. The thing is like, I don't know how much of that is in this price already, so I'm gonna have to do some work. But February 20th is when they report. So I hate the retail space. I've already said that. I think you could buy Starbucks after yesterday. And now Walmart, I think you can get excited about Walmart. If rates can ever come down and people will start buying and selling houses again, we had a low mortgage demand overnight as well. Like some of these names, Target is left for dead down there. They had a go woke broke story, blah blah blah. But up to 145, some of these names could break out. Like they're really, really barcoding right here. If Home Depot is the name that I always like to come at the king. And I just think that that's why I mentioned Walmart as opposed to Target, Home Depot as opposed to Lowe's. And it's just like all of these names, man. This is why, honestly, shout out to JC and everything. It's just like bull run only in tech stocks. Yeah, okay. You go on Twitter, the only thing holding up this market are, the Mag 7, the this, the that. What a run in tech names. Home Depot, yeah, monster tech name. Home Depot right now is breaking out again. You're one report away from this thing taking everything out. We've already talked about Caterpillar. We've talked about some of these other names continuing to move higher and higher and higher. This is not just a tech name. And then, by the way, you want to talk about buying the king? This is the only, I own this, which I don't know, it's not loading. Look at this chart. JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, like these names continue blasting off. I think you can buy some relative weakness in, if there is any relative weakness. WFC still ways away from their all-time highs. But look at this move, breaking out as well. Citigroup, something similar. I'm just highlighting a lot of these names because yesterday you had a monster report from GM, and that brought that stock up 7 or 8%. These bank names continue to be hot as well. So whether or not you're in tech names, which would be
Awesome.
or whether or not you're in all these other names or just exposed to the market, you are also
Awesome.
So let's just keep the party going here and buy the best names and be rewarded handsomely. Happy Fed Day.
No, you're saying it wasn't going to go.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's February 22nd is the date of record for Walmart. And then the first day of trade will be the 23rd. So anyone, a shareholder on record as of the 22nd will be included in that 3-for-1 for Walmart. So yeah, cool. To the upside we go. Let's get a look at the overall market here. Sharif's going to kick it off with a look at the futures.
49.51, guys. That's where we closed off yesterday. The overnight high, though, much lower than that, 49.38. Currently, the low, 49.22. Let's say resistance, 49.50, the overnight high, and then support at 4,900. If we break that 49.25, we had this top end of the range here that we topped out for several days at 49.25. If we break that, look for 4,900.
A lot to understand this morning. If you haven't done so, make sure you grab that. It has everything you need to know every single morning in the pre-market, absolutely for FREE free. Right to your inbox. All you need is an email address, hit that QR code, and that will take you there. Big move down here for Google this morning, better part of 6% right now. Coming off of earnings, we'll talk about Google and we'll talk about Microsoft, but as we said, pardon me for 1 second, I just have to do something very quickly. There we go. It was AI and spending to come for both Google and Microsoft here.
Yes, sir. Look, net income jumped. It jumped up big. 52% year over year was the increase in income from 20.7 billion back from last year, 13.6. The main story here, though, Brendo, was spending on ad revenue. It came in at 65.52. That's below the estimates that the analysts were looking for, 65.94, essentially 66 billion. It came in below.
One thing they are doing is copying Apple in getting their next generation of their phones leaked earlier and earlier during the year. There was pictures I saw yesterday. I don't know if it's real or not, but the Pixel 9 is already floating around.
Heard.
I feel like it's not even been a few months yet since the Pixel 8 hit stores, but there's already pictures, guys, of the Pixel 9 for Google.
Yeah, look, a lot of the analysts weren't happy. It seems like to be the case that there was no specifics in terms of like spinning out their AI projects and monetizing and all that stuff. Okay, so what are we made to believe here? That the company that's been working on AI for decades doesn't have a sound plan for monetizing it? Okay, whatever. I kind of roll my eyes at that. It's like you got to pick something to pick. When it's down, you have to find ways to explain why it's down.
Yeah,
so I think that's kind of
I mean, analysts need jobs.
Yeah, exactly. Which I don't mind because at the end of the day, that creates volatility in the markets, which is good for trading. So, but I think that was a nitpick that doesn't actually make logical sense to me. But overall, there were some kernels in there to like. If you look at some of their bets that they're making, they're losing less money on things like Waymo, and they're generating a little more revenue. So that's turning in the right direction. That's future growth for them. Okay, so the ad spending, the advertising space wasn't quite as big. YouTube was flat, but still a tremendous number for them. What's interesting today is if we settle, the 50 period's at 139. If you settle off of that, or potentially that double top was at about 142, which is our current bottom on Google. When I zoomed out, though, I remembered this day when it bounced off that 139, which is now the 50 period moving average, and then held up very nicely at the 140 level. So I have that kind of marked off. Like, it's that general area that I want to be looking for the buy. If it cracks 41, then you're into that pocket, and if it breaks 39, it's like, wow, what the heck are we doing all the way down at 39? Got to give it up. But that's what I want to be patient for here on Alphabet. I think when you have a Fed day as well, the beauty of it being Fed day is when we get those sometimes crazy spikes at 2 p.m. Not really sure we get them, but if they do happen, some of the levels that might not come into play in the morning can get there on a spike. So even if we can't carry down there, who knows? Maybe we're staring that in the face at 2:30 for a dip and rip on Alphabet. On the weekly chart, Brendan and I were talking about this morning. Like, the weekly chart looks great still. I mean, as long as it holds, if it bounces off the 140, that's even better this week. And if we're to make a healthy pullback into, say, the 50 period, I think that's an easy buy, if not just right in here in front of the 40. So I'm really not that concerned with them over the long term. As a trade, I probably prefer Microsoft because you can't really point to anything negative. But Google, if it gets down there and tries to test those 40s, that's where I want to patiently wait for the buy.
All right, I was just messaging about to the big bosses, and pretty soon, it may be this week, it may be next week, but it probably will not be in 2 weeks. We'll pretty soon have crypto on the platform, so we may be getting that moments away. All right, that should be exciting. I don't want to hold our breath until it comes, but again, there's a lot of back and forth with all of that and making sure that it all gets, properly done, because we stop trading at 4 o'clock. There's different rules there. We got to settle and all that kind of stuff. I'm not in business development, so I'm just passing on the news that it should be there pretty soon. So I was just asking to make sure, because when I was talking about crypto there, I thought, sometimes I didn't even see anybody ask, but sometimes I go over that. So, okay, look, I wrote down here on the sticky note today that we really like, I like Google, but at the same time, I think today is going to be something that's very important to do, and that is to be patient. First of all, something called the podcast. Here, go find it, go watch it. Me and Shreve are going to watch it tonight for sure, again. Check this out. The podcast recap, last night with Brian Shannon was absolutely fantastic. I want to thank everybody for that. I want to thank Ramin and Fabian for buying me finally the Vision Pro. Thank you, Fabian, for that one right there, and we wore that. Today we have some good economic events coming through, but on the sticky note, we just wrote down the very, very simple stuff for Google. Be patient. I don't even know if there's anything else. 138 to 140. I feel like we got to let it get to there. You can go check it out to find out some more information on what I'm thinking. But right here, I just want to say, this is par for the course. And if anything, this is a better report than last time. Last time they were down 9.5%. This time they're down 5%, 6%. Look at the expected move. Did the options absolutely nail this? They were expecting a 6% move. They got a 6% move. So absolutely nailed it right there. Microsoft, they were expecting a 4% move. They got 0. So the options are going to be squashed on Microsoft, right? But the options are going to be there for Alphabet, depending which way you went. You got the move you wanted. So let's wait to see what happens here with Google. It's going to have to go. It's not just going to sit down 6%. Okay, that's what was expected. So I think we dip a little bit more. The 50 period is right here at 139. So that's why I put between 138 and 140. Right now, I don't have any bids, but I'm going to change that. And I'm going to bid 140. And if we continue to tank through that, then we're going to get out at 138. I don't think this is a day breaker early or a day maker. I just think you got to sit around and buy this dip. It's a strong company, obviously, and we've all been waiting for pullbacks. But remember, this candle where we are right now, that was January 18th. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 trading days ago. That's all that we've given back. So you're right back to this breakout point. I like it, but patience is going to remain key here, and it's going to have to bounce off 140 for me to get into this name. So we'll sit there, we'll watch it, we'll take a small piece at 140, we'll average it back in near 138, but this could happen on earnings plays, man. The stock could get absolutely crushed. You got to wait for it to base out one way or the other. My first option would be a 140 bid, which I'm putting in right now.
A few people mentioning Remark. I was talking about it earlier this morning. We'll get to Microsoft here, but I just wanted to pull this up. 700,000 cash investment from Microsoft into Mark, M-A-R-K, Remark Holdings. So $2 million credit for them as well on the cloud side of things. So that was the headline, if anyone missed it, for M-A-R-K. Thank you, Randy. Let's talk Microsoft.
Yeah, let's talk. They beat big on the top and bottom lines. Net income essentially 22 billion, up from 16.5 last year. A revenue increased 17.5%. The issue here was a light guide, guys. Okay, so they guided between 60 to 61. The street was looking for essentially 61, so they guide between the ranges there, and that's why we got an initial sell-off. everything was good, Brendo. You had intelligent cloud segment growing 29% year over year, productivity and business processing unit, which has things like LinkedIn and others, up 13% year over year. So it's a strong quarter. We'll see how they trade today.
Remember the days when in an earnings call, how many times they mentioned AI was like considered a positive thing? Now it's like how much they have to spend next year on AI.
Exactly.
So it's almost flipped the tables a little bit, but we're actually moving back higher right now, trying to get positive here, guys, for Microsoft.
Yes, it is, and I didn't even realize. See, you know it's Microsoft Day when even Sharif knew to dress up. I know. I looked at the graphic right there. If you put glasses and shave the head, I just felt. Although Sharif has more guns, obviously, but look, I don't think anything's going to be more powerful than Softy in the numbers they put up. Because if you look at the reaction on earnings, as Sean mentioned with Google, it was worse last time. And then you look at AMD and how far AMD was up. I expected if AMD didn't guide well, you could have something closer to double digits. So Microsoft being flat is almost in some ways like it's up. And I look at what happened in the aftermarket, a double bottom at 401, which also happens to correspond with a good level. I mean, give me a break. Last week, 401 held like a charm. So 401, kind of a lot higher low here at about 02s, and then again there at 02s. I'm just sitting there staring at that 401, and anything above that, I'm going to be looking long. It has to be through that price or at like 425 or 430 or something ridiculous to think about shorting on Microsoft, because it's in what I think is a nice bounce zone. It just put in a nice bottom here at 405, so that is set up for the open dip and rip, but I'm gonna be looking for bounce plays. If it falls and there's a curl and it's over 401, then I want to be thinking long on Microsoft. Right now it's setting up the 405 level a little bit later on here, but the growth was all just growth everywhere. It's a bit of a safety net stock right now because it gives you exposure to a great enterprise and a great enterprise business, and then you've got the future of AI growth. So it's a little bit safer of a play for a lot of investors right now, and the price action's reflecting it. It's hard for me to believe this would be under 400 at any point today. So I think it's the safest of the bunch right now on the bid.
What's up to Daryl Flinch there? Same as me, man. This is my largest holding in the long-term portfolio, and why not? I remember buying this name at $35. Like, Microsoft and Satya Nadella has just been so huge, and I mean, just continues to work. Dan Ives likes it. I like it. I'm bidding 404s. If we get to 401, then giddy the hell up on that. This 404 bottom, I mean, we're just going to see. I'm bidding there. We're going to take those positions. If it comes through, great. We'll start the bidding at 404. I mean, look, Azure's huge. They're monetizing Copilot. We don't know the exact numbers, but if you're going to have an AI play, this is going to be the one until it's not. I don't even think you need to have that much patience here. I also said I like the 411 break long. I was just trying to pick a spot in here. I thought 410 was too easy. So if I zoom back in, I was just talking about breaking the long there at 411. So we have a couple wicks to the top there. You know, that's kind of started that move yesterday, the breakdown of 411, I mean, you could wait for 412 as well, but either way, man, sleep on this and you're going to miss it. I hope we can get 404. I'm not sure. Microsoft is going to go green today, and when it does, it's going to be fantastic. 411 break, I think, is really what you want to do, and then if you do get a 411 break, I mean, do you even want to get out at 414? But that's $3 right there. I think that gets it for you. So just take as many shares as you want for a $2 or $3 hit, because if you get 411 long, you don't get out until it breaks at least back down below 410, and then you're going to have the 50 period somewhere around 409 at that point. So look, if you want to trade the name, you got to trade the name. Microsoft today, I want to start the bidding at 404. Let's see. If it breaks 400, and that's what I wrote also on the list, you can't just go both ways on this name. Like, oh, I like this, but I'm going to start, where are you getting out when it breaks? So I actually wrote this down here. If we can't hold, see, there's 404. If we can't hold, I also wrote down here 404 there. If you can't hold 400, then you have to go short. So we're just going to wait to see what happens here on Microsoft. But I'm starting the bidding $2 from now. The thing is, I didn't put this bid out yet because we were just so close to getting filled. You know, the Google fill, like a $400 name to drop down $2, like that's sneezing. So, I mean, you know, like that, boom, oh, I just sent the stock down $2. So I just feel that 404 is somewhere where you want to bid, and we're going to be doing that maybe now. The imbalances come out at 925. So at 925, if Microsoft has a huge sell, which it won't, then that might be a good opportunity to pick something up. So we'll start bidding lightly at 404, but do understand that this market could turn itself on its head. It's down 1%. You know, so again, if Microsoft's going to be such a huge holding in the NASDAQ and in the ES, I could see some fade here in this name as well. But hey, we're locked and loaded. We've got our price levels ready to go. It's Microsoft, it's earnings, it's Mr. Softy. It's one of my favorites.
So you knew as soon as Lisa Su had a black leather jacket on, it was a problem. AMD down 4.3% here. We were just going through some of the numbers. I mean, right across the board, it's a bit of a question mark, though, pointing towards record quarterly AMD Instinct GPU, EPYC CPU sales, higher AMD Ryzen processor sales right across the board. So, I mean, she was doing her best job to, you know, talk it up as far as the quarter is concerned, but numbers don't lie.
Well, I mean, when you come there wearing a black jacket like she is here, and you don't wear the blue one, Lisa, this is what happens, right? No, kidding aside, of course, guys, they did beat on the top line. They met expectations on the bottom line, but it was really the guide here with respect to their chips that kind of put things on pause. So they're projecting about $5.4 billion in sales for the coming quarter. The street was looking for 5.73. We'll have to see how they do the rest of the day. Down big today.
One thing I think we have to do across the board today is zoom out as much as possible on, even go to a weekly chart, because these moves back down, yeah, they're decent, but still a long way to go potentially here for AMD.
Yeah, that's true. Just quickly, I saw this and I thought it's worth throwing up here because the last 13 years, have a look at revenues, annual revenue. And yes, it's going to come in lower for 2023 than 2022, but the acceleration on AMD is just, this exemplifies what was already happening before the AI boom, where you went 7 billion, 10, 16 to 23 when we had that massive run after the pandemic. So well, you got to put things into perspective here. Obviously, it's not good that they didn't guide well, and I think everybody understands that. All that said, I think long term the growth is going to be fine. The addressable market when it comes to the build for AI it's going to be huge, regardless of who you tend to believe, whether it can go 5x from here by 2025 or 10x as some others have said. But either way, AMD just has to carve out a little bit of a chunk. That's the long term. In the short term, when you are up in a double up since November, the end of October, the fact that it's only down 5% is a little bit weird to me on that guide miss, because I really thought we'd be retesting the 155 area, like right in here. I thought we'd be retesting this number if the guidance was poor on AMD, and when you don't get that, I'm thinking pop and fade. Right, you got a double close at a 168 that happened underneath this gap. So double close at 168. We get up to that number, I'd be looking to fade AMD here. And if we never get to it, maybe there's a 65 that sets up. I am pretty sure, regardless of what AMD does, Intel, which reported its earnings and immediately held 43, and then it wicked under and held 43 again, and then it tried to hold 43 yesterday, didn't really break it down until the aftermarket on AMD. So the difference is Intel is right there underneath that key 43 level. Whether or not AMD gets to 168, tough to say. But Intel getting to 43 off of the open, that seems very reasonable.
All right, I was just reading an email there. All right, so like AMD, look, as it was written, man, you can go find it on the sticky note here. I want to short. We started this short a long time ago, man. We've been shorting AMD for a minute. Yesterday was a great trade short. We were long early, then we flipped over to the short. When we broke right here, this 175 area, we flipped that short. Was a monster, $4 or $5 winner. So, you know, trying to think about the same thing again here today. There's 168. I was just saying to Patrick, these days, like, you know, the most uneducated of chart readers could figure out like that this 170, you know, should be shorted. They could figure out to go long on Microsoft at 400. I don't actually like days when things are so obvious. So I want to kind of just wait. It's kind of like when they're too obvious and too easy, it never really works out. That's why yesterday was so good on AMD, is because we made money long early, and then we tried to support this level. It didn't hold. And then when it broke, it was floodgates open, because I don't think a lot of people thought that AMD was going to go down yesterday. So that started this move. Today, I feel like there's a lot of people looking at AMD to the downside. So that means we could go the other way. But you have to sit here and short this name. You're down 4.5%. You're up huge. Since their last report was down here, man. It was 95 bucks. You went to 180. We've been selling stuff up here. I mean, we last sold NVIDIA at 25s, 625. I don't know where to buy it back. I have no idea. But I'm just looking here and think that we can start to go down. So I'm not going to look at NVIDIA today. I'm going to look at AMD. So I already have an offer right now for AMD 168, 167, or 169.50 if we get going on that. And then I do want to continue to pick on Intel. Intel's been a big name as well. And we want to go short Intel. I'm waiting to get short Intel 43.50-ish. So any kind of a bump up. But like, see, now the market's not doing anything, but AMD is going the other way. So unfortunately, when we had wrote some of this down, we were, you know, AMD was 166. Like now you're pushing 164, and you have a couple more minutes until the imbalances come through. That should send some of these names one way or the other. So yeah, AMD's a short, and I don't have anything written down for longs. So let's wait to see.
Anyone watching Boeing, the CEO was just on CNBC, so trying to make things sound, I guess, better than they are maybe for Boeing. Back to day highs though, but he is done apparently at this point, no longer on screen. Yeah, we'll talk Tesla here. This story coming out late yesterday, a Delaware court shooting down Elon's compensation. So this is a pretty big gap to the downside here today for Tesla.
Yeah, it was a sizable contract there, Brendo, $56 billion. The Delaware judge calling it unfathomable and unfair to shareholders, directing the plaintiff's legal team to work with Tesla's legal team to come up with a new compensation package. You'll recall that Elon made statements that he wanted 25%, at least 25% control, if not in equity, then at least in voting shares before he takes Tesla to the next level and advances AI. So he says we'll have to wait and see what the new compensation package looks like, but that's a blow to Tesla.
Yeah, 2.6%. We're right back to basically the lows or thereabouts for earnings on Tesla.
Yeah, I still sort of believe that Tesla is just fading for this 165, 170 area. I think it's been a trend. It's been a trend for a bit. To get there, it would have to break 180. To break 180 today on a Fed day, maybe, maybe not, but that's been good support since earnings. So, and try to keep it simple with Tesla. It's got the 180 level after earnings. That's not a real wick. That's just a dark pool wick. There you go. So that's like a fake wick. There's 180. It held. Then 182 the next day also sets up. I think we can get a test of that on some weakness this morning for Tesla. If it does pop, afternoon levels, we're a little bit high up there, 190 to 191. That's what I put on my note. So if we do get there, I do like it. And then Rivian. Look, every single day, Rivian's been pretty tradable name. Yesterday was the exception for me because I've been going long off this 15 bounce. It was a good short. All you had to do was short the first available pop. I think you could retest that 15. If Tesla gets there and maybe miss that, then Rivian anywhere in front of that 15 level and that recent bottom. I do like. I am trying to fade Nikola today as well in the EV space. That one worked pretty. It was pretty simple for Nikola when Lucid and the others were squeezing because Nikola decided to not go. So when the other EV names were going to the upside, Nikola had all kinds of trouble breaking out. It's got a flat bottom break at 74. It's got the 77 level, and then up top here at 80. That's three places that I want to look short on Nikola today if we do get that dip in the EVs.
All right. The biggest win of all time, I think, just happened on Streamlabs, by the way. 5,000 points. I just got rocket on a 500 spot right there. So we'll see if we could put some of that luck into the market right now, as everyone has to be a subscriber, get into the chat and have some fun with some Streamlabs there. Look, I haven't looked at Tesla once today, so let's do it together. All right, so this 186, I was just talking about this with Wayne. None of us have any freaking idea of what any of this means, so I don't know what to think either. Right now, you're making a downside move, 2.7%. Obviously, the market has thought this as being negative news, so I would not stand in the way of this. I have no idea why this affects Tesla or the price of their stock, but apparently it does. So this is a great level. Not only is this where I bought, that's nothing to do with that. It's just like if you go down, you know, you had some garbage down here into 180. So I would say that that's where you want to hold. I feel like this is going to break. It's down 2.75%. If I knew more about this story, then I would be like, let's go. But I don't, and I don't understand it. So for me to sit here and give you some levels is just a bunch of BS. All right, let's just go over here and check this out quickly. It doesn't look like too much is happening here. Google with the spike higher. We wanted to wait for these imbalances to come out. So this is sending Google up about 75 cents. It was just at 140, so we'll look at that. Alibaba, China is a mess. Palantir, Fisker, Intel. I don't see any of the other names on here. So Intel keeps going down. I mean, that's going to be a short back, probably $35. There's Starbucks with a sell a little bit right here, but I believe it was still making its way back up. So there's the sell into VWAP 98.50. Anything less than, you know, this amount is really a nothing burger. So AMD and all that, I guess, is safe from you know, a potential move dramatically one way here on the imbalances. So it's 9:26 right now. Let's go talk a little bit about Boeing, but it seems like it's somewhat of a nothing burger here on the market on open imbalance.
Yeah, still some comments coming through here from Calhoun, Boeing CEO, saying that I am absolutely convinced that we've got this plug issue completely under control. And then when asked if vertical integration, quote unquote, went too far, he says probably did. So that sent this thing back to day highs here coming off this report. But just be aware, there's still some comments coming through here.
Yeah, Brendo, look, from a numbers side, they beat on the top line. Revenue grew 10% year over year to about $22 billion. The loss widened, though, so that was the problem here. So they posted a net loss of $30 million. Last year, however, $663 million loss. The street was looking for 78 cents a share. They posted 47. We'll have to wait and see how they do, but you know, the story is what it is. So I think, have we bottomed out here, possibly on Boeing?
We'll have to see. I'm just reading through a few more of these. The CEO also saying the subject of how we interact with our suppliers will be a subject that we will be working on for quite a long time for Boeing, guys.
So one thing, if anyone looking at any regional banks, just keep an eye on them. Obviously, New York Community with a big miss and down significantly, and that's dragging some of them with it. Boeing bouncing again off this 200 area. If you could have it knowing what the earnings were going to be, obviously, you know, in hindsight, you just kind of cleanly broke 200, but that's the nature of earnings. Anyone making that bet, if it goes the other way, you're just instantly out a couple of points. But I think you can only look, it's not true. You can do whatever you want to do, but when it holds a bottom like that, it's hard not to be thinking only long off the 200 area for Boeing. At the end of the day, price action rules the market, and when you're trading, that's what you are left with. So unless we get some kind of a crazy breakout, like it could take nines maybe, and then there's a huge 17 level in play on the daily, which we can see on the 15-minute chart. I guess really just looking to get a dip in front of that 200. And yeah, Tom in the chat there, Oxy was a nice move. Got to get that dip and rip, man, every single day on Oxy. When it's under 60, someone's buying it. Maybe it's Uncle Warren, but the dip and rip, I'm there today because I said I would be if we got under 58.
Yeah, 56 is a good one for that one. Okay, look, again, go find the podcast, man. We've got, again, viewers are extending every single week on the podcast. Go find it. I broke down a trade that I like. I still like the trade. I think you can buy it right now. I think you could buy Boeing here. I don't think I'll trade it today on earnings, But again, I think you could buy it, hold it against that 270, 175, and then Freudian slip there. We'll go back up to 275. How about that? So that would be a good. I think it's well worth it. The earnings are there. The CEO is pretty confident moving forward. So we'll have to watch out for Boeing and see if we can get any love right there. A bad number for, or I guess number, overnight from China, sending FXI lower and Alibaba lower. We're bidding $70 on Alibaba as well. All right, let's get going, Adara. We got 30 seconds, and then we're going to be opening this bell. So we have AMD on our mind, Google, Intel. I feel like the first trade we might get might be a Microsoft dip buy, so we'll have to watch for that. It's at 407 right now. But yeah, we're locked and loaded and ready to go on what should be an exciting morning.
Wild morning, and hey, it's not just the morning.
Or not.
It's a Fed day today as well, so you know the afternoon, we're here all day, is going to be wild. Let's see what we have in store in 5, 4, 3, 2, and ring it.
All right, coffee at any time. There we go. All right, let's go. Yeah, my screen is flickering too. It's the software. It's
Okay,
not. It's
gotcha,
nothing to do with anything else, I don't think. Okay, I just saw your note. Okay, so here we go. Microsoft, Rip City already up through some of these levels that we were talking about. Now you're going to get to 410, and we're going to see what happens on that one. I do want to take a 411 break, so I got to get that all set up. I did not want it in the middle of the market, but we'll take it right now if we go back up through 411 on Sir Softy. That's starting to go. AMD's not doing too much, but here's a nice move. We'll wait for that 411. It could be the high. It could be the high. So let's wait. We'll take it in case it goes. But right now, that's what we're looking at. It's Microsoft up to 410 right now and looking at that 411, which is a spot that I like.
Yeah, it just continues to run. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't necessarily want to chase that one. AMD is headed to the upside, so we might get a shot at that 168 on advanced micro devices. It is the one moving first. Intel, no chance at 43. That's barely even moving off of the bottom as we speak. So it seems like it's a bit of a patient day. I mean, Tesla's still inside for now, holding 187. It's going to mean like there's really not a ton that's at the key levels that we wanted to grab. I mean, Microsoft, the one that's moving, but again, unless you sat in that one in the pre-market, you're essentially waiting for it to make either a dip to go rip, or maybe the breakout, as Sean mentioned. I like the dip still, if we can even get it at this point. So let's try to stay patient. Just because nothing hit in the first minute doesn't mean that there aren't trades out there.
Yeah, I guess I'll have to buy a 409 dip, but I don't know. I assume I'm gonna get into this in just a matter of seconds. Okay, goggles. Let's just go check out what Google is doing again. Thank you so much for joining. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. We're gonna look at all the earnings plays here, obviously, as we go. So here's Google. Unfortunately, I have that stupid wick there. That's 144.30. I wrote down that we wanted something in the 140s. There we go. I guess we're into something now. That's Microsoft. Actually pulled back. Right there. Microsoft just pulled back. So we did take a 409 fill there against that. That bottom right there, 407, 408. Maybe we'll get out if it breaks back down below. It's a very, very small position. I was not expecting this. We did prefer that 411 break. It looks like we nailed that 411, but it wasn't a break. It was the top. So let's wait to see what happens if we can get back up there. I just chuckle because
that's like what happened to PDD on that day. Where like it did the spike and then it goes right to that level, to the penny without breaking. This one was a little bit closer. I got in on the dip. It's always that opening resistance level. See how it held 407.30? That's always the first dip until proven otherwise. And then right at the pre-market high, dip into the pre-market high break, which happens to be 09. You know my style of trade. I see that 411 out there, and if it gets there, I want to get out and then make the next decision when it happens. But Nikola did, that's the first thing that came in was Nikola breaking that 74. So I just jumped into Nikola. There, it's kind of a flat bottom break because that was yesterday's low as well. This short will give to the afternoon high. And if it breaks that, I would look a little bit higher. But this was the name in the EV space that I knew at the open I was willing to get into the short of.
Let's freaking go right now. There's Microsoft. Oh no, are we now $2 in the money? Are we now almost $3 in the money? Are we gonna break 411? Yes, we are. Here we go. It is happening again. Everybody, welcome to the party. We are ready to rock and roll. We told you today was going to be a big day, and there it goes, Mr. Softy. What's up to Neil? What's up to Softy? What's up to everybody that's with us? What's up to you guys in the chat as well? monster. We just went long at 408. We took the 411 break. We're long 410.60. Oh man, this has been a really, really good day to start the day already. We're up more today than we were yesterday. Hit the damn sirens. It's a one trade wonder right there. It's Microsoft. Stay in the pocket and you get rewarded. It's Microsoft. It is upside, baby. It's the professor. It's the chicken. It's the eggs. It's the rice. It is Microsoft. Microsoft is cooking, baby. Let it cook. Let it cook. Satya Nadella, let's go. This is a big trade up to 413. This is why we're here, man. Excitement, good trades, energy, and entertainment. Let's go, Miss A.
Another earnings name definitely worth keeping an eye on, Novo Nordisk, NVO. This one actually making new all-time highs after reporting really nice EPS and sales beats here. So NVO on watch.
Also, make sure you watch, if Novo Nordisk is on watch, you know that Eli Lilly should be in play as well if you're trading that entire sector. The break, I didn't get the break, but I got out in front of 411 like I said I would, but the breakout was quick and furious. The aftermarket top was 414 on Microsoft, so that's the only level in play. Dip hunting is going to be a thing. I think this is dragging everything to the upside with the notable exception of Intel. So Intel is an absolute dog. But Apple, as I heard Sharif also say this, Apple is another one that's looking like a dog.
Thank you, my friend.
I'm trying to short Apple here, but we're not going to get
Cheers.
189. The market's barely moving. It's essentially Microsoft going ham. Tesla's making a break to the upside.
Yeah.
But if you can't go higher, there's only one thing for you to do. I'm a little surprised by this on Apple. A rising tide like that you would think would lift a few more ships. But Apple looking like it's struggling. Crap, we're not going to get this Intel. Yeah, we're not going to get Intel. I missed Intel by 10 cents, and now it's starting to flush. That's a little frustrating. I kind of felt this one should have been a dog, and it certainly is. AMD's doing absolutely nothing right now. So be patient. I don't think AMD is going to have a dollar range for too long.
Oh man. What a day. What a freaking day happening already, guys. I mean, we're just going to relax. This is not, okay, so off the 408, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, $6 winner right now, looking at $7. All right, let's just, first of all, I'm gonna cancel all my other trades right now because I'm canceling everything because I'm not focused on anything other than Microsoft right now. We just touched here it comes back in. We just touched 415. Let's put an offer out there as this name could fall down. And just so everybody knows, like Neil just nailed that with that 414.
Aftermarket high.
Yeah, exactly. So that's where we just got out. So like if we're gonna write down on here and then give the gold of 411 and then 409 and 408, you got to get out when it starts to pop like that. So we only have, I don't even know how many shares I have as a percentage because we cleaned it out, but we don't have obviously as many left. Let's just go sit up there at 415 and see if we can get that. I'll analyze how many shares I had after. Who the hell cares? Like I already told you, we're up infinitely more than we were yesterday already. All right, AMD. The fall down is real on that one. That went off of the 200 period moving average to 166. We were sitting there. I canceled everything, of course, but we were at 168. So it didn't get up there, but here it comes, cracking back down. I wanted to short a little bit higher than this. So this move right now, coming back in, I don't have any levels for it, but I do want to look at AMD, and I would now at least we know 166 is legit, but it is falling back in, maybe 164, something like that on the name. Watch out. Here comes Microsoft right back in again. I mean, we could take a fill here. All right, we'll take one a little bit higher near 413 if it can get back up there going because we don't want to leave too much on the table here.
I want the 11.
I have the 11. That's the problem.
The thing is on a dip, I always like breakout price on a dip. If it broke from there and the buyers accelerated through there, then the logical place for them to come back in would be at that same price. You will see. I am in Oxy. I said we'd go dip and ripping on Occidental, so I am in Occidental to the long side. The first available dip is what we took, but I'm just I'm getting a bid out here for Softy on the way back in. It's trying to bounce off the 411, and it might not even get there at this point. I'll quickly show you Oxy. We'll see if we get the fill. I'll let you guys know if we get that fill. But there's Oxy. It dipped right into the afternoon support. That's the first place to look. The second place to look is the bottoms yesterday. Try to keep it as simple as possible when it comes to dip buy hunting. So I don't know whether the cause of this is Uncle Warren. Every single day for the last 7 days in a row, it's done dip and rip. But here comes Softy back in. Now he needs to hold on to the 10 level on Softy.
Yep, and Daryl, man, just congratulations, man. Real see real, and so bang on that one. He took $8. You know, welcome to the club, and he's done for the day. That's ain't nothing wrong with that, right there. So congratulations on that, Daryl, and thanks for being a continued watcher of the show. So GSHI right now halted. So shout out to you, Tisha. That is halted right now, GHSI. Yeah, we got to look for a little bit more to do here. So I was looking at that well, we don't have to. That's what I'm saying, but 164.50 maybe there. That's where the 50-period moving average is, and where VWAP is potentially here for AMD. So that would be something. I'm going to wait around 164.50, see if we can get something. We do have Chicago PMI coming up as well, but right now we have Adair at the desk.
Minimum running again. This one has run in the past. So yesterday, this investor, David Elazar, has disclosed a 51% stake in the company. Also has been elected to its director of its board. Minimum up about 35% right now, trying to crack above that earlier pre-market high here, guys.
Minimum, eh?
Yeah, good look on that. Look, there's going to be small caps running today. I don't know if anything's going to do what that, what was that Mark did yesterday? Yeah, it was Mark. That was completely insane. I probably got a little greedy with Occidental here. It gave a break of the 80 level, the 50 level, sorry. Came back in. I don't want to reload this level. We should have had that bounce. It looked like it was going to carry through, but it was more than 1-to-1, which sort of breaks my rule because it gets to 1-on-1 on a bounce play, and I'm usually taking the 1-to-1. So if we can't hold on to the 35 level, just going to jump out of Occidental. I feel like that's one of those misses where it shouldn't be happening, and if I like the next bid, it's like 80 cents down from here. So I don't want to hold this 80 cents against me when you're looking scalp bids over here on Oxy. Nikola did come out. It broke that 75. 74 to 75 was my first play on Nikola. You see it break that 75 level up. So I'm going to wait patiently for the next level higher, which will be that 77 level where we had the short in yesterday's trade. So tried the flat bottom break, end up a little bit more than 1 cent because of some slippage. You don't get exactly 1 penny. I got 75.18 or something like that out. But yeah, this Oxy, got a little greedy with that one.
All right. All right. So Microsoft, it came back into 409. We took a little bit more down there. So our average price now is 410.37, obviously on that one. So we'll wait for that coming through. I didn't want to take the 411s there on the way back in, so we got a little bit, more interested down there at 409. Let's now see if it pops back up. Our average price right now is 410.37. Daryl, you might have had the right idea there by taking a little bit of a break for the rest of the day, but we'll see. I still think it can hold this. We need to get out, obviously, if it breaks through certain levels. I mean, that 408 held the first time. Definitely thinking that could be something that we need to think about if it breaks. So that 408, I feel like we'll get out a half of what we have if it breaks that. So let's just put that out right now. If it breaks it, it's really going to break it. That's the problem. Okay, maybe we'll get out of 75% of it. It's coming in right now. Yeah, so 407.89 right now. Let's just get out a half if it breaks too much lower than that right now. 75%, sorry, not half.
Yeah, it's pulling right back into the original breakout price.
Shoot, we have AMD short.
So if it gets into that, oh my goodness, whoa, hold on a second. Intel's just, where did Intel come from?
I don't know. I got to figure out AMD.
Okay, so just quickly here, we're pulling back into that breakout price. I tried the dip into that 11s, gave some back, gave a third back of that original breakout. So I got to be patient. Wait for this like 40, it's like 407.90 or so. So call it 408 that we got into before, or just wait for 405. Those are the two levels that'll work. But Intel, which was a pretty large dog, that's starting to come to the upside. So the 43 level coming into play. That's support since earnings. Wow, when that didn't go, I really thought it was going to be short lower highs on Intel instead of just actually filling me in front of the 43. So that's starting to get to the upside. I see AMD starting to come up too. That could be mildly related there. So worth the watch. Some of the chips starting to come in. I want to add to this in front of that 43 on Intel. That's the first level. Then 43.40 is where it bounced in yesterday's trade. So here's that test of that 408 we were talking about on Microsoft.
All right, yeah, 408, 409 right now. It's trying to go. We are still short. We have a new position, so we'll do this for you. It's going to be AMD, but we're just going to wait now. We're just in it because it popped there. We still are waiting for, obviously, that 168 level that we wrote. I mean, this is why I just go back to the sticky note and think about some things that we say, because as the market's opening, you get different reactions to what you thought, right? AMD made that move down to 160 here, and now it's just, this is a 20-minute chart. It's just, is it 20 or 15? 20. It's just up, up, up and away, and it just keeps on going. So you got to be very, very careful with whatever we're seeing here on AMD as it is starting to go a little bit higher here. So that's AMD. We're still waiting for 168. We're also waiting for this level on Microsoft to finally go back higher. Hopefully that happens, but again, whenever you're hoping, that's not a very good situation. So we're going to wait to see, but right now Microsoft holding 409. Our target, though, 408.
Yeah, okay, I just got a little more of intel there. Oxy, oddly enough, hasn't stopped out, so that could be a really good sign. I thought I'd kind of bungled that first out, but it managed to hold just underneath my entry. So decent sign for me on Oxy. I'm not adding to that position unless I get higher lows. I want to see more strength than what we're seeing. Short some intel, as we mentioned, as the chips are going higher. Just one more forward. We're going to go to Adair in a second. Tesla is up at 190. So it might actually, we might actually retest some of those afternoon levels.
Tesla's the long.
Tesla's absolutely flying right now.
There goes Softy.
No, Softy doesn't hold 408. So I just jumped out of Softy again, trying to buy those dips. Let's get to the desk for Adair, but watch out for Tesla into this 191.
Bringing the Chicago PMI here, coming in for January at 46, so lower than the consensus of 48 and the forecast of 47. So bit of a lower move here for that Chicago PMI for January. SPY dropping a little bit on this, but still generally down in the day after all of those earnings. Chicago PMI 46, guys.
All right, well, we'll have to slap a fail on that last piece of Microsoft. That's why I was giving you credit, Daryl. I mean, that was a good move to get out.
And quit it.
Hit it and quit it, yeah.
In trading.
Yeah, or in anything you want. You could see right here, 165.30 is where we're short. It just came into 166. We took a couple small fills. We still wait. I mean, here it goes. I guess AMD, and this is what I was talking about this with Patrick. I was like, I actually don't really like these days because sometimes you know you're offside and you don't know which way the stocks are going, and they could flush one way, they could go the other way, and it looks like, hey, look, we were long on Microsoft early, so that was right, but then it's just come right back into 406, 407 again. So the law, and then this stock too, AMD, we were thinking short, we were right early, but now completely off again. So it just continues to go to the upside, and that's what that is. So we're gonna have to wait. I am gonna try, so again, we're holding a small piece of this. I do wanna buy some of these dips. I just put a bid in again. Oh, we just got it on Microsoft at 406. I was gonna wait for 405.50. Like if we broke this bottom right there, then I don't, you know, the hands up in the air because it is still going that way. Here comes AMD also actually upside now. Oh, we just got a 168. I guess I didn't get as many shares as I thought there on AMD, but okay, we're in that position right now. And there goes Microsoft. Honestly, we're gonna have to flush ourselves down the toilet. Microsoft disastrous off that bottom there. Off the top, sorry.
After that break, if you would have told me there's a chance to actually get long in front of 401, I would have bet something and probably eating a pineapple pizza at lunch because I'm very surprised by Microsoft pulling back. NYCB is halted now multiple times already. How can it halt this much after the open? Because we're still at the open, just at the open. I see a tap of 652. So these guys with a bad report, obviously, and got squashed. It's tone of 38% down. It's going to be short sell restricted down over 10%. A relief rally would be wild on this. So if it's going to open and then hold this double halt at 650, so halt top, 650, I mean, that looks like maybe longs in front for a potential relief rally on NYCB. I didn't read the earnings report, but thank you to everyone that mentioned this name. So AMD flying is obviously going to put Intel under pressure. I got some in front of the 43. My average price is 81. That seemed like it was going to be a good price. We get some lower highs, but I should be tired of that 43 level, no question. SoFi. Oh, SoFi didn't get to 750. SoFi bounced off $8 today. I like 750. I might start liking 8 a little bit, but that was under a lot of pressure to try to jump in too early on that one. Microsoft is trying to make a bounce here off. Oh, there's 405.
Yeah, we got stopped out there at 405.50, but then we got back in at 405.70, and now we're $1 in the money, making that money back. But still, like, we get stopped out there. Actually, this stop out wasn't that bad, to be honest with you, because we went long and that was at the same price, basically. So I'm going to wait for some 407s here, and then maybe that was the bottom, right? The pre-market bottom. We got out when it broke because rules. And here we go. So we need this to get back up to the upside here. It's having a hard time at 407. That's where my offer is, literally like to the penny. So hopefully that will wind up holding a little bit better. But all right, let's go. Go through 407 and then we'll hold it, and then we can get back up to that 411 marker as well. Okay, this did come back in for us a little bit. This went down to 167.20 right now, but she is on. Lisa Sue was just on CNBC, so that's starting to send this name a little bit higher here. But I actually didn't have as many shares as I thought.
Look out for these chip names, man. It's like SMCI just bounced $30 off 500 clean. In complete hindsight, bottom at 500, open at 500, break higher, and SMCI doing SMCI things. NVIDIA, as I say this, is Intel's about to break 43. So what started out as like the easiest morning ever is going to turn into a frustrating, and NVIDIA is also breaking high. So I don't want to fight this at the 43 level. I'll come back to Intel at 43.40 because you're seeing a lot of strength come back into the chips, and I don't have any longs off of them. If anything, kind of got to go back to the well to some ideas because that 405, which was the secondary level for a dip, that's starting to hold here on Microsoft and looking pretty good. Apple is getting trounced.
Is it?
Trounced. Down 1.5%. I got to cancel my 189. So we're obviously not getting 189 short today unless Powell. Yeah, Jerome would have to do some work for that to happen. 185 is a nice round number. I don't have any real significance to it, this 185, but it is obviously a big psychological level. If it can't hold that bid, that's pretty nasty. I would expect a little bit of a fight here at 85, maybe for a scalp long. But it's more this Intel potential break at 43 I got to worry about.
43. Intel 44. Okay. I mean, I can't get into Intel right now because we're already in AMD. So we'll have to wait for it. I'm still looking at some levels. Like I'm thinking like 170. We said that would have to probably be our stop zone. But again, it's like when all the stops are just so obvious, it really sucks. That's the bad part about it, to be honest with you. That's what I'm saying. So I'm not really feeling that level there for me anyways. But okay, we did get that 407 print. We got 407 clean. We're actually at, no, it wasn't clean. We're at 98.
Oh, Starbucks.
All right, so yeah, Starbucks, good name there. We'll look at that in a minute. Here we go. We are getting a little bit of a pushback on AMD right now. So I'm going to take an opportunity to get something out at 50 there just because we just bounced. Again, I still think lower on this name. But I wonder if we do really want to go back up to that one set. See, there it is. Like, it didn't even go down there. It went down it went down $1 from its highs. So I don't want to discount it for what it's worth. But let's just wait to see if AMD does pull again. Lisa Sue's off the other channel. Yep. So we'll wait to see, and we'll get Sharif's look on her attire in a little while because I missed it. So we'll wait for that as that is the number one thing that Sharif trades off of is how she's dressed. So all right, so here we go. Hopefully this makes a move to the downside. As we said, we'll wait for Microsoft. And then the other name, of course, that might be on everybody's mind is Google and Alphabet. Oh no, that went right down into 140, 141 the bottom. Again, like instead of me averaging long or short into AMD, which we know can be a rocket ship, Google down there to 141 flat, which is what we wrote down, and we didn't take it because we were obsessed with everything else. So, all right, well now I hope Google tanks. So yes. So we can get a better bid down here right now because it's in the middle of nowhere. Let's hope that Google can come back into this 141. If better, why not 140? So right now, Google down 6%. Just par for the course. It's earnings day, and you're now rocking with us. And there goes Microsoft back up to the upside. Man, this stock is just pretty wild. I'm going to get an out in between 408 here, like 407.80. See if we can get that fill as this continues to rip higher.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the market is now heading right back into the, well, bouncing off the bottoms. ES
Hopefully.
bouncing a little bit, but the NASDAQ bouncing a little bit more. So we'll see what happens with, I'm in Intel, that's the only thing left because Oxy first dip by no good. The thing about a pattern like this, if it's that obvious, a lot of people are going to be involved. The first dip was into afternoon support. I still like it down underneath 58, and I will take another shot if we get down. There's no question about it. It's been too many times. If you find the bottom, you're absolutely running. I was saying Starbucks, if only because I actually thought Starbucks would make a run at there's resistance at 99 on the daily chart. I thought it would make a run at that at the open, maybe get to 100. And then it could turn. Instead, Starbucks has dipped all the way back and given everything, almost everything. So 95-ish.
Oh, shit.
95, what the heck? 95-ish is that bottom. Like it wicked underneath and just bounced. If it bounces again, I think that looks absolutely fantastic. One more for you guys. Apple does still battle with that 185 level over and over again. This looks like a good bounce play for Apple here. There's your wick underneath. Now it's holding bids above 185.
All right, let's just go, man. This is what I mean about sticking with the names, man. Sticking with the names. We actually really only have one bad trade on Microsoft, and it was just getting out right there at the 50-period moving average. Because our next average in was at 406.30, and we got out at 405.75. So that was like a 75-cent hit. The problem was holding it all the way back down in, and then actually I guess we had a small average there, and then that was the out. So this is, I guess, the worst trade. 409, out 408. So right now we're $3 in the money and trying to see if that one wants to work. My whole morning though, like if AMD rips 170, then we're going to be red. But we just got a few more outs down here at the base of 167.50, so that's making this trade a little bit more tolerable. But right now, AMD is definitely on one. Microsoft's on one to the upside, and so is AMD. So all these names continue to go, man. So far, so good, but just these two names, and we'll have to look at some more. We talked about Walmart and where that possibly could go today. Downside. So I told you I didn't like retail, but I do like the story of the split. Probably a name that you could buy on any dips. Was that Adara?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, another earnings-related name here, Nomura, up 12+%, new 52-week highs. Despite an earnings miss across the board, however, they did approve a share buyback program. So keep that in mind here, NMR.
Okay, Nomura, good one.
Yeah,
go ahead. Yeah.
A couple of things here. I know I said this is an area I would be short on AMD. I'm already in Intel. The question is, do I want to double up on that strength? Right now, the answer is a no. I'm just not going to do it. If one comes in and I like both of them in the same space, if you're fighting against the grain, there's no need to double the risk. Like I'm already in Intel, and I do feel like if they come back in, they'll probably both work back into the downside. I did grab Apple here on that 185 bid. So put in the wick bottom. Was able to get in, scalped some already. It is pretty heavy. It bounced and got to the quarters and already turned around. Try to get rid of that wick a little bit later in the day when things settle down. But Apple is still working to the downside. So this is like a bounce play off of a wick bottom setup that if it cannot hold this higher low, we just jump right out of it. I want to get over to that NYCB was in a... It looked like a longer halt. It's opened back up, but not much of a rally. It's consolidating off of that, like a halt price at 650, but has yet to break higher. So I'm going to stay away from that. You want to see it hold and then break away. It's holding and then going lower. So not much of a relief rally setup just yet in NYCB. This is one that came late to the party. Like I wasn't thinking about NYCB until those earnings. I took a look at it. I was like, oh crap, that's kind of crazy. At 37% down, usually I'm looking for some kind of a bounce play. But Intel went right to the 43 level, waited for it to get to that price and pull back. Then I added to it. Had to see it tag that 43 level. If it gets to VWAP, start taking it out under 75.
Bring that shit down. Let's go, AMD. Honestly, man, I held this whole time. Let's go. All right, so here we go, man. Again, it's just about serenity now because, like, we talked about the levels that we liked for AMD, and yet we started the short like at 166. We never even mentioned 166 before. So that part sucks. But okay, the fact that it's come down, we breathe a huge sigh of relief right there as that just came back in, man. We got 167s there. It did break through 167. I'm gonna put another bid because it broke and then didn't keep going. So we'll just I'm putting very, very small bids. I'm trying to hold this for the dream. If it goes back, so far it's been a nightmare on AMD, but well, not really. We're not even really down. I mean, we're down because we're holding this, but I don't, you know, I mean, we're down because we got out right there. But I don't want to do that anymore. You got to reward yourself a little bit here. I like the Intel short.
I think we're taking lows, man.
Oh no! Don't jinx it. Okay, now I'm.
Well, I'm
all right. I hope we take lows.
I'll give you my reason for that. First one, Apple, which when you saw the way it went down the other day at the open, the last couple of days of the open, when it finds a bid, usually it's pretty good. I was gonna try to show you this day, like it found a bid and then raced into VWAP. So when I saw that 85 start to hold, I'm thinking the same thing. And Apple's obviously a big name. Oh, well, maybe I might have jinxed it. But they just won at that 85 temporarily and did another wick bottom. Okay, I could be a little bit wrong about that because Apple did end up holding. All that said, it doesn't mean I'm not going to try to grab some profit on Intel in front of VWAP. A lot of times if it fails this level, you could really be back to 42. I get that. On a Fed day, anything can happen, but this hasn't been working and it's been trending up. So I'm going to put a little bit of caution on this and take a couple of legs out underneath VWAP here on Intel. I would have been in AMD had I not gone over to Intel and that hit first. So I'd be in the same boat whatsoever. So not to distract everybody, but a firm's doing that thing that it usually does at this time of day, which is make a pop that has a chance to be faded. I would have thought 44, so we're nowhere close just yet, but I'm going to keep my eye on this. It did get to 44 and make a right turn the last couple of days, and it just tagged 43. We talk about shorting pops on a firm pretty much every single day of the week, and it's popping right now. So patience, pack your patience. 44 was the level yesterday. Every reason to wait for that to come in.
All right, AMD was just down to 166.60 or something. We're waiting at 166.50 to get another piece out. This thing just ripped $1, like instantly. See, there it is right there. So, you know, no lies right there. 166.58. We're at 166.55. Like my order is pending. So maybe I'll just keep it there. That sucks that we didn't get that one. Microsoft's come all the way back in. We only have 20% left, but still come all the way back. Like whenever you get bottoms, you get back to the 50 period. You guys know that I'm looking at that. So watch out for Microsoft trying to break lower right now. A break of 405 and we're just going to be out because I'm not going to hold this one all the way to 404 because it would squash all of these wins, right? So here comes a break lower right now and there it is. We're going to get out. We'll fail on the last 20, but at the same point, that was a good bounce back. So Microsoft happy about that, not happy about AMD because we're having some troubles on the short side here with advanced micro devices, but no troubles with the Dara at the big desk. You want to go first?
No, sorry, just SMCI, like $40 or whatever. Okay, let's get to the desk with the Dara.
$40 down?
It's $40 off the 500 level. Anybody that likes, like if you just like round numbers and obvious technical levels holding, like really, it's supposed, like this should not be that easy. 500 just sticks out like a sore thumb, and then that's going to be like the easy setup of the day. Sometimes when everyone's looking left, you got to go right. I'm not gonna pretend that I didn't want to be on the names we talked about, Microsoft, AMD, Intel were the ones I was watching. You set up your plan, you got to follow your plan. But the pivot to SMCI for anybody, I hope that worked out for you. Someone's got to have this. So let's go to the desk with Adara.
So much to talk about in the market today. We did gap down a little bit on the SPY here, still trading lower after market not reacting positively to earnings from Microsoft, Google, AMD. Earnings season definitely in full swing, and we will have some other mega cap tech earnings coming after close on Thursday as well. Another big thing to keep an eye on today is going to be that Fed rate decision coming at 2 p.m. Eastern time, so stay tuned for that. In terms of other movements in the market right now, Novo Nordisk actually making new all-time highs here with a beat across the board on earnings, NVO. We also have Plug Power up almost 13% here after getting an upgrade from Roth MKM to a buy rating. And last but not least, Starbucks moving around, but still definitely positive on the day, up 2% after reporting actually weaker than expected earnings here. So SBUX on watch here too, guys.
Yeah, this. I'll just say to Neil, this AMD trade is not going to work, man. It's just hanging out higher. Like, it's almost like we should just get out at 169 and not even wait for 170. But it is just continuously screaming higher right now. And I always talk about this, man. I don't like to trade names on earnings days, and I just wish, like I said, we looked at Intel. We wrote down 44, 43. How good of a top was that right there? I know Neil's got it, which is good. It's obviously not as dramatic as these other names, but yeah, this is probably the safest. You don't have earnings risk with this, and there it is, man. So again, we wrote that down, but it doesn't really matter what you write down. It's how you trade it. And we're not trading very good here on AMD. See, it just went back in again. We're short at 168. Like, well, 167.80. Like, I don't know why I'm panicking that much. I'm not happy.
Here's the thing
with the way it's trading. It's just one of those things.
Two things. Yes, I was long Apple. Batting 400 is only good in baseball. That's all I'm going to say about my morning, and that should be a win, and it's not. And I just got to move on to the next. It was just mentioned in the chat. Jay Lee, SMCI is going to crash just like Microsoft did. Just be patient. Look, SMCI turns around.
Let's hope so.
I'm shorting Intel more. I'm just looking for any other chip name that sets up because it's probably going to turn really fast. And when it does, it might be AMD. AMD just double topped this at 169. SMCI turns and you're going to want these things short. It's just that simple. It just went $50, man. It just went 10%. It's not going up forever. No, man. The ES broke the lows. The NASDAQ is down 1.2%. It's a Fed day as well. I just can't. You don't go infinitely up on names like that on a Fed day. People take profits. So when that pulls back, I think you re-energize the chips that are not as strong as SMCI for some short opportunities. Maybe even ARM. ARM barely broke the high of the day. That could be a better one, now that I'm looking at it. Because if something is not breaking and stair-stepping up, it's an easier short, and ARM barely just broke the high and came back in there. This could be one. It's actually red. It's 1.6 down on the day. ARM off this high.
More than that, bro.
What? ARM?
No, Fabian was, no, I was listening to ARM for the cast. He was talking.
Gotcha.
Fabian said, we're going to need a cast for ARM. I said, maybe more than that. But shh, quiet. I don't want Neil talking about breaking lows or anything. Let's just wait for this to happen. I think he's going to be right. Let's wait for this to happen.
Well, I jinxed it last.
We're $1 in the money on AMD. Shh, Adara.
Big pop up here for JTAI, Jet AI, just announcing that they've launched a reroute AI software. Float on this one is just above 3 million. Keep an eye on JTAI.
What's
Okay, you still got to believe in what you're doing, okay? Because honestly, guys, this is the thing. Like, we talked about 170, 168 for AMD. I got to take some more out. Getting excited, when it's starting to move, there's so much opportunity in this market that there is really no reason to get too excited and jumping into things a little prematurely. We did that for sure. Like, look at this, 168, 169. I mean, we talked about this, like, possible start the short at 170. Like, anyways, we're going to be up. Can you believe this? We're going to be up on AMD, okay? So this is going to be hopefully a great trade as we can hold this for lower. We're still at 166.55, okay? That was that bottom that we missed by 3 cents before it ripped up $3. But look at all of these outs right now. We just got 166. We just got 166.85 off of a 168.50 short. So it's all fine because we don't have any stop outs. Like, we were just very, very stubborn with this trade. Stubborn is not a great way to trade, but it's not that we were stubborn against our own rules. We were just being stupid getting in too early. And that's the breaking of the rule. Holding this until 170 was always the plan. So it's not like, This is revenge trading. We didn't take any hits. It's just we started it too early. And we talked about having less shares when we started it so early. End of the day, we should have waited. So patience sometimes is a virtue that I do not possess.
It's not always easy at the open. I'm gonna say this because understand at 9:30, you're gonna get fills at prices sometimes a little faster than expected. You heard my reaction to Intel. It was like, what the heck? I was talking about another stock, and I'm like, what the heck? I'm into Intel because Intel jumped 1%. I looked at it once, and it was at the lows, and then I looked over again, and I was getting filled, and it moved up 1%. That is what happens. And maybe I didn't wait for the 43 level. I think that's the only mistake. I'm short the right stock, but the trend is not broken just yet. I just want to get that out of the way because this is VWAP. It could be holding a higher low. I see the ES continuing to break down, but when I look at the NASDAQ, we did hold sort of this key level. It was 17.4, which it wicked above. It held that on a bounce, and it's trying to retest the lows. It looks like we are trying to get down here. So in lieu of that, I grabbed ARM, and I'm going to show you SMCI, which is, it's slowing, but still pressing. But it didn't get to 550. Look at yesterday's trade. If it's going to be this easy off the bottom, I know hope's a bad word, but I'm going to use it here and understand why I'm using it. You would hope that it's that easy that it can't get through that yesterday top. If it was 550 to 500 yesterday, maybe it's 500 to 550 today. And if this rolls over and NVIDIA rolls over, then I think AMD, ARM, and Intel are going to be just fine to the south side.
All right, well, they're not fine right now. We need them to roll over, like
it's
Neil
not over.
said. Yeah, exactly. So let's get that rolling here. Hopefully down to the downside. I'm still in the same trade. We just got a little bit more at 168. Again, you know, still waiting for that 166.50 area. I still think we can get down on that. Let's just check back on Microsoft, which is kind of doing the same thing, and that's not much at this 405 level. It's just, you know, I'm hoping for this market to come back in and stay underneath VWAP and stay under the 50-period moving average here. So I'm not, Rach is right here. So I'm not super excited to take this long because, you know, we've got $1 in the money right now on the short for AMD. Don't want to squash one for the other. So I still like the short better for AMD than I actually like the long for Microsoft, but they're kind of one and the same. This is just at a great level right here. It's if the market does break, see now, and AMD is going back up. If the market does break lower, Microsoft takes this out, right? And so that's the pause for concern temporarily on that name. Let's just check out on Google. We said we'd like to look at that at 140, please. Didn't get there yet. 141 was the lowest that name got. Okay. So we're gonna have to wait. And then Starbucks, yeah, we have lots of patience now. We actually wrote that down, that Microsoft was gonna be the name that we had to be patient for the dip, which is happening right now. So I hope we're not wrong. Starbucks, boosh, to the downside. We talked, this was, oh, Nelly. Nice little move down. Oh, do not. Okay, thank you. All right, there it is. We take $1 right there again. Get down, AMD. I'm waiting. If we get that 55 print, we're already up on AMD. You know what? I'm gonna take an 05. Bang. Let's go. Get down right now on AMD as we talk about this position. You guys in the chat are giving me crazy FOMO because you guys are all like, oh, those puts. If Sean just had puts, those would be like 100% in the money. We have equity here. I can't do anything about that. I hope you guys took those shorts up now, 169, 170. And then I hope it prints for everybody as well, obviously, as there it goes back into the downside. So let's go. I'm still waiting for that fill. Hopefully we can get it. And a shout out to my good friend, Phil.
What up, Phil? I don't know if I saw Phil in the chat.
Oh, no, he's not in the chat.
Oh, no, it's okay. We have a lot of valued members of the community, and we love
that 55.
Love when you're here. Thankfully, you're getting back to these lows. The NASDAQ's back at those lows. Let's flush it down the toilet. I jumped into ARM. Remember we said ARM was barely breaking out? Well, that's what I mean. Failed breakout. If a stock is going failed breakout, and I think chips are going to turn, I'd rather short that one. So it failed to break here at 71, shorted underneath 71, got 84s. Actually thought I got 85, but it doesn't really matter. VWAP in here at 740. So when it goes 1-to-1, then 2-to-1 takes them out. I got bids on the way to the 70 level. Intel is starting to bleed. So I just got 42 halves there. That broke VWAP. So you had to sort of stick with it. I was hesitant to add to Intel, but liked ARM because it felt relatively weak at that point. CompuCare team, yeah, we can check Tesla. Tesla's still looking kind of strong. Look, Tesla, Only down 1.3%, but that's kind of deceiving. That's a bull flag. That's higher lows, kind of a trend upside. But if the market takes out those lows, let's stick to let's stick to the plan. Ultimately wanted to fade chip names because of AMD. It was a little bit hairy, but I do want to stick to that plan overall. Tesla is not near that 180 level or the 182. I thought dip buys there. I'm pretty sure I said 191 for shorts. But even then, like 192.5 was afternoon resistance. Tesla's not even in the pocket for me right now. Minim's got some momentum upside right now. So shout out to everyone. Thank you, Adair, for bringing this one to our attention. I know these are moving. The plan was to trade chips today after AMD, so it is what it is, and you can't go wrong doing that because the volatility was there. But have to do some work on. Okay, so the easy answer would be look at the daily chart. It's got room if it breaks 5. The wicks are pretty ridiculous here. Okay, that's sort of obvious, but if $5 breaks, resistance at 6. But that's just what the daily chart tells you. I don't know what the heck this wick is about at 1050. I'd have to know what was going on that day. That seems a little bit weird.
It just sucks because Microsoft was such a banger early that we would just be walking out of here retired. But unfortunately, that came back in because right now we're 250 in the money on AMD, and we just got a 166. Well, we got those 55s, of course, but here it comes back in again. So let's just wait to see now what happens here, because this is going to be hopefully a good trade for us, as now it's 250 in the money. Okay, here comes 166. So I'm bidding I'm not even bidding 166 anymore. I'm bidding 164 right now. That's where I think this is going. This is 164.50. So I'm bidding 165 right now on this. 165.05 right now for AMD. And we're here, man, and it's glorious today. It's AMD, and it's making a move in. Should we just buy some 166s now or get greedy? Because right now we're $3 in the money, and there it goes. Yes, sir. This is the dream, man. You want some volatility. Unfortunately, though, we all got something to work on, and patience is what I need to work on. It's not the trade ideas. I mean, this Microsoft was blasted, and we talked about that 405 and not taking it, so I'm glad we didn't do that. And right now it's 3 in the money off of the sticky note level right there, and here we go. We just bounced off. I took out some 166s there. Actually, we got 160. I'll tell you what we got. We got 165.80 right there, so that's about $3. Obviously, we're looking for a little bit more than that, so let's go. I just told you we're bidding 165 and change. We are out, though. We only have about 30, a little bit less, about 25% of our initial position. So I'm comfortable holding this now. If we get something down at 165, great. Next up after that, 164.60, which is the 200 period moving average. And again, it's all a pipe dream until it happens, right? But we're net positive on AMD, and I didn't think we'd be there 10 minutes ago. So there we go, Neil. There's the low.
This is so weird, man.
What is?
No, it's more that it was like right away, Microsoft was like, oh, that's going to be the best trade of the day for me. And then the chips were nasty. And then now the chips are great. But at the exact same moment that VWAP was bouncing on AMD and you went to a quarter of your position, I did the exact same thing on ARM. What did ARM bounce? Right off VWAP. I went to a quarter of the position. I was already down at that on Intel, so I got a fill there at 42.50. I was waiting for like underneath 42.40, and then this bounce happened on Intel. Intel's underneath VWAP. So I feel like holding on to this makes a ton of sense, right? Like it's under VWAP. ARM and AMD, they're just both bounced off VWAP, so we'll try to respect that. But wow-a-wee-wah, Molfar. Oh, I thought you said, oh boy. My boy PayPal, he says, is going higher.
Oh, good.
Oh boy.
PayPal,
look, PayPal's not moving that much, but try to remember the nonsensical move that it had in the afternoon on the cost-cutting measures. So look at that breakout. It was right at 63.25. You had an aftermarket sort of resistance support level there. If it can get back and break out that top, great. But it's right now stair-step down. It needs to take out that high. That's the level that it broke from in the afternoon. That was at 2 o'clock. If it does that again, I think you have something with PayPal, but I still see that a little bit of a trend to the downside. So a bit of a flush in those chips finally, but I don't want to lose sight of some other names that reported earnings. One of those is Alphabet. Now, Alphabet has not really re-challenged that 141 level. That's good for the market, but it's not good for getting dip buys in Google here. So if it holds this higher low, there might be something stair-stepping it back in. I want to be patient. Why is that still PayPal? Yeah, the 140 was where I wanted to start longs into 139. I don't know if we're going to get to see that on Alphabet the way this is bottoming out. And if there was one fail that I feel could have been avoided, execution matters on trades. We say that time and time again. You can have an idea, you can look for a bottom, all that good stuff, yada, yada, yada. But just sort of like this in here on Apple, I don't mind getting out when it doesn't hold that higher low, but when you wick the bottom like that and the buyers immediately step in after running stops, the idea generally is to be fast enough to punch right back in. That's the advantage of being a day trader and having access to direct market access. Is that you see that trade, you can make multiple trades, just jump right back in. It's the same risk, it's the same trade. I didn't on Apple and it went to VWAP. That trade is now come and gone. If I was still in it, I'd be holding for a 186 break.
I was like, what just happened there? Okay, so I was only going to give Starbucks 20 cents, that down here at 94.50. So we're at 94.47. If we break 94.40, then we'll be out of this name. It just dropped a lot. And I was just like, we broke that 95. Maybe we're getting some spit down here on this. This is going to be a 20-cent hit. This is not a big position because I was thinking if we were, I don't even have any offers, that if we were right, that this name would retrace, there it is. So this name would retrace way back. So we just lost on it, so we'll hit fail. But the idea behind this was, I thought anyways, and if you like the thought, stay in it, please, by all stretches. But for right now, that just fell out. So there it is. I thought we'd come back in. We had sort of seen this 94.60 area. I mean, obviously we're a little bit early on this play, but I don't think it's the wrong play. So we'll wait. I mean, now we got to wait. I feel like Starbucks will come back up to the upside at some point today. But the market's down below, and we've said to ourselves that we want to. This is why we did not take Microsoft long. Remember that we should have took the short. I mean, to be honest with you, I didn't want to have too many eggs in the basket. We're already 250 in the money right now with our friend AMD. And we didn't want to have too much exposure to the short, but that's why. So right now, I feel like this is a good level for Starbucks, man. But there it goes, bouncing right back up. All right, maybe we'll just take a little bit less shares and hold it because we didn't even lose that much. So let's take a little bit less on Starbucks and be a little more patient because I do kind of like this position here. So there we go. We'll buy some 38s now against 94. So we'll take a little bit less just to see if this will work, and that will allow us to hold it a little bit longer because right now AMD is still 250, and we got that fill, but we're waiting for 160. I just told you 165 flat. So hopefully we can get into that. I know that's a little bit greedy. It probably is. We should take some more out.
65. Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's hard to have $4 winners, but if we're bouncing off VWAP right now, so let's just see if we don't hold it. That's what I'm thinking. Damn it. Okay, let's just go. All right, let's go over to the desk, and hopefully this all will work out at some point.
IWM, this Russell 2000 small cap ETF here, bouncing pretty nicely off that 196 area, but very much down on the day. Lots of these small caps making really nice moves there. This TSVT, this is 2070 Bio. They announced some updates with the business yesterday, getting an upgrade from Lee Rank to outperform and a downgrade to market perform by TD Cowen. So some mixed analyst sentiment here. Really nice move, though, for TSVT. We also have Minim. I mentioned this one earlier. David E. Lazar, this investor, disclosing a 51% active stake in the company and also announcing that he is their new director of their board, up almost 100%. Last but not least, this one pretty interesting. Powell Industries, POWL. This one actually is a small cap, under $1 billion market cap and a float of about 9 million shares. Really nice earnings and sales beat for Powell ahead of Fed today, guys.
Oh yeah,
Thank you very much.
Remember Fed.
Oh, Boeing, by the way, is continuing to make higher.
Yeah, we just bounced off 50.
Yeah, it just continues to rally on Boeing. It's up now 3%. It just held VWAP in there. There was no chance at the 200 level. There was this at 930 down to 203, but that's pretty much it. So there's no bounce play in Boeing. Affirm is back in the zone. I don't know. My thoughts are back over to Oxy. Okay. So I'm actually bidding off yesterday's low in Oxy, thinking we get down there, but it's trying again at that 58 level. I'll go for this consolidation as well. Like I said, we got out of a bunch of Intel and ARM, but I am still holding a piece. You're bouncing off VWAP in there. Want to make sure that doesn't get back above 71. SMCI, which was screaming and kind of pulled back, now racing back toward that high.
Yes, sir.
So, covering those chips and making sure you got some profits out there, certainly part of the course. But I am looking to take this next bounce in Occidental. If it's not going to be 57.6, then I'm not going to be all in. I think that's the better level off yesterday's lows. But I am looking dip and rip on Oxy. And then when it does it, usually you want to hold for the move.
Sirens. It's going to be the biggest name here today. It's going to be AMD. Oh, man. As I said, thank you, Slav. Thank you, Mr. Long Shorts, and congratulations for joining Day Trade the World as well, Mr. Long Shorts. But I hope those shorts are, the right size. I mean, it doesn't really matter, long shorts, long board, whatever, if you're a skater. But, okay, AMD. Hit that thing, because I feel like we got the power behind us today on that one. We were very, very close to being clocked. Thank you, AMD. Oh, that was good. Okay, thank you for that. So there we go. That was just oh man, that was tough. Like if that broke 170, what a different day this is today. But again, I'm not going to sit here and be like, we're lucky it didn't break 170. It has nothing to do with luck when it's written down on the sticky note. So we just got to follow our own plan. And if we had done that, well, we did do it, and we're fine. And look what just happened to Starbucks. So right there, right back to that level. We bought 38s and just sold 58s. That's 20 cents. So we lose 14 cents, make 20 cents, but we're still holding. We want a lot higher than that, but you don't get filled unless you're sitting there. So that was good. I thought it was going to go, and now it's right back to where we bought it, so you can get that again. All right, so that fill on AMD was pretty good. Needless to say, now we wait for, I just put a bid at 164.60 right there. But yeah, man, good stock today, and pretty happy with the way it traded. This coffee that Rob reloaded really tastes bad, so I'm going to go get another one in just a couple seconds. But that's what I'm doing right now. And like I said, man, it's been a good one. Alibaba, hold on a second. I just want to see Alibaba quickly here. All right, so, yeah, 71. All right, so that level didn't bid yet. We were bidding. Remember we canceled everything? We were bidding more near 70 in case that came through. So I just wanted to go through that one more time. But, oh, guys, here comes AMD. It's now 350 in the money. And here we go, man. This is a big move to the downside. See you later, AMD. My bid right now is at 164.66. It's a $1, $2, $3, $4 winner. As we're sitting here, let's see if it gets a little bit more exciting to the upside. I'm going to go get a coffee and leave it over with my main man over here.
Yes, sir. And looks like we are challenging those bottoms again. You had to stay firm with some of the short ideas because the market was really screaming. I preferred Intel because it already showed you their earnings, and I had the level at that 43. It did challenge it. We never actually broke. I took a leg out under VWAP. If it gets back into this low, that's where the next bid's going to be. That's about 42.40. So just a quick update for you. ARM, I don't want to grab another out unless it breaks back above. Like the last out will have to be above 71. That's going to have to take out the 71 level. I'll risk that 15 or 16 cents plus slippage on ARM. I wanted to get to Rivian. Some of the ideas that we're looking at in the morning, when the chips came in, all attention went to them. So you shouldn't be surprised. Like the three good stocks today were Microsoft, Intel, and ARM for me, right? Like that's where the focus had to be once the market determined that. Rivian, it did a wick. It didn't quite get to 15 bucks. We want to dip and rip on Rivian. I thought maybe, okay, it was really easy 2 days ago at 15. I thought you could get something maybe similar to that. Clearly that wasn't the case. So if it's going to stair step up from here, got to hold on to VWAP. 1575 looks a little bit obvious, but that's where I want to jump in here on Rivian. If that party is going to be to the upside, you got to stair step it up. A 16 break almost seems too obvious. I'd rather be long in a dip than trying to take that breakout trade. Nimitz saying easy money on NYCB. I mean, was it? Okay, I suppose so. It depends on your style of trade. I don't know if I ever want to call that easy money, but if you're looking for a bottom after that, the earnings miss for NYCB, you definitely got it. It's creeping higher. I won't be chasing that move. Not going to do it. I'd rather look at something which could have some more structure like Plug Power. Like Plug, look at that, gorgeous. Hold for, higher low, now it's all green. It's got the short float going for it, holding VWAP. Maybe it doesn't break $5, but that's still a good 15% away, that $5 level. So I think I just look for a previous high, to hold on a dip and go dip and rip on plug power. So I like a VWAP on Rivian if it can hold. And then we're going to go over to plug power here, that 420 to 25 area. Next available dip for me.
Oh my God, we took $4 and... Yeah. We took, oh yeah, by the way, Sharif was over there getting a coffee. He's just like, I'll bring it for you, so.
Oh my God.
He's gonna bring it over. All right, so we just got like, I mean, we could probably get it again. We just got the 200 period. We got 160, where's Travolta? Travolta's like, who is this guy? 164, not just as it was written, as it was spoken. We talked about waiting for that level. It came through. There it is right there. It's just, this has been a joyous day, needless to say. Look what Starbucks is doing. Holy crap, Patrick. This is what we're talking about. Let's go right there for Starbucks. How does 70 cents in the money for that one sound? And when it was down here, what did I say? I mean, you know, what did we talk about? We talked about, I think this is a good area, but we got stopped out, but we got back in, justified it hopefully, and there it goes. Nicely done to the upside. There is Starbucks. Buy the dip on that one and let it drip. I like drip coffee. I mean, that drip coffee is pretty good. AMD again, we're going to wait for this to fade out the rest of the damn day. And Microsoft, where art thou? 401. All right, these are some of the levels that we were talking about before. So let's wait to see about Microsoft. But man, oh man, what a day this has been. And it's only 10:30. I didn't even remember that it's Fed day. Who cares? We'll come back at 2 o'clock.
Well, 2 o'clock is when you care. 2:30.
Yeah, I don't even care that much.
2:30 is when we care.
Yeah, 2:30 is when we care, and I don't even care that much about it. But we'll wait to see. We always got the big trades on, so we'll wait for that. If it comes through, it comes through. I did want to look one more time at something. I know what it was. I want to check in on Disney. Yesterday we had Brian Shannon on the show, and we talked all about Disney and how we liked that name and how it was sort of coiling up for a long. I specifically asked him because you guys know that we're all about this name, and there it goes, man. We were buying this at 90. It's at 97. It continues to work. That's going to be a good call on that one. I'm still over the moon on this Starbucks trade. Today's been a great day. 350 in the money on AMD. The number one stock, AMD today. Not even close. Starbucks is trying to make some money here as well. Let's see if that wants to go. But good day aboard, and I just want to thank everybody once again for watching. As you know, Neil and I putting on this for you every day, showing you our trades, exposing what we're doing, and sometimes we'll have losses, and then sometimes we're doing things like this. We talked about possibly sitting on a beach early. Unfortunately, Microsoft came back in, but it's beach time again as AMD right now back into the bottom time. Next low, I don't know. We holding on to this one, baby. It's now $4 in the money. It's AMD and it's Adara.
Interesting take here on Ethereum coming from Standard Chartered, this British banking company here, saying that they believe Ethereum could surge 70%, so around that 4,000 level if the Ethereum ETF does get approved in May, which is their prediction that it will get approved in May. They also said there's a little bit less risk of downside after the approval with Ethereum compared to Bitcoin as well. So just a little note here on Ethereum. Bitcoin, slightly positive on the day. We actually just broke above that 43,000 area after trading above it yesterday, then falling below, and we were around that 42.5 area earlier today. So nice move back up for Bitcoin, still very much back into this range of that 41,000, 43,000 that we were seeing back starting in December. So bit of a recovery here for Bitcoin. Still, though, down about 1% right now. Ethereum pretty much flat in the day, just above that 2,300 level. A lot of negativity in the rest of these crypto names, though. Solana down almost 6%, Ripple down 4%, Cardano down 3%, Avalanche down almost 4%, guys.
Yeah, I mean, not a great day for the crypto names. I haven't even been paying attention to them because there were some things happening in the chip space. But also, it's not the only thing that reported. Google and Microsoft are a couple of bad boys. I think we're about to test that 401 double bottom. What's up, Randy? But that 401 double bottom, which was the earnings double bottom for Microsoft. Got to wait for it. It's at 03s. I don't think it's there just yet. Inadvertently, The bear and the bull was the right way to go, although it's looking, at the open, we're all over the place. Now it's looking like we're a little trend to the downside. So I think the bear's starting to win the battle going into 2 o'clock.
Yeah. Shake him out. Yeah, good one.
For now, it's not over. It's only 10:30. You still have 30 minutes to go. I think the midday, it's a good day to be learning some lessons because I feel like you want to be patient for your established levels. Anytime on a Fed day, this is the thing. It can feel a little bit quiet and get a little bit quiet on the futures until you get like 2 to 2:30. And when that's the case, be patient with your levels. I am not going to get in early on Microsoft. It's either it gets down to that 401 level or I don't want to touch it. If I can't get the dip where I want it on Rivian, if I don't get VWAP, I don't get VWAP. I'm not going to chase plug and start punching highs and all that good stuff. You want to wait for your prices. What I will do, and just one adjustment, is if ARM continues to hold this VWAP, I'm taking another leg out. It just went right back up to my entry price and right back into VWAP. So the thing I like about this trade is it's the way that it's set up. False break of the high, which happened to be 71, so you get the round number. Ducks underneath, short the lower high, VWAP retracement. I could have rinsed and repeated it. I'm going to hang on to a piece of the dream. I'm going to hold on to Intel, hold on to ARM. But the reason for this trade was, hey, if the chips turn around, what's giving me a short setup right here, right now? And felt like it was relatively weak. And that was ARM on that 71 false break. So that continues to work into the downside. Just giving you an idea, like the thought process. Intel is at those lows.
Good.
Is it really bouncing again? Seriously. I'm going to take some out here because it's once at the open, twice, now thrice at 42.42. Like if that's not telling me 42.42, like my favorite number is 42. Yeah, get on the bid there if it's going to hold that for sure. Shout out to everyone that's looking at those crypto names. I'm going to pull up Mara. I had an idea for Mara, and okay, I probably wouldn't have traded anyways. Never mind. So Mara, I'm going to show you guys like what I was sort of thinking because it's not really going to matter. Thought we'd have like some kind of a dip. I thought if this was weak, you would dip, break, and then look at this like 16 quarter area. It's going the other direction on Mara. Haven't really checked Bitcoin too much. But that was a big wall in the other direction at 18. Like it was big support. Usually that turns into resistance for Mara. If it can hold, maybe you get a bit of a breakout there. Looks like it was a good decision to get out of some of that ARM. I'm going to do some work with Mara. If crypto starts to break out, and this is going to go red to green, usually that's a good trade, Adara.
Okay, here we did get those crude oil numbers coming in at 10:30, 1.234 million versus the consensus estimate of negative 0.217 million. So quite a big difference here. Gasoline stock change coming in at 1.156 million versus the consensus of 1.483 million. A little bit of a push up here for oil futures right now, guys.
Okay.
I didn't get my Oxy.
All right. Okay. Well, you still lots of time in that. I just lied about something on Twitter, and I said that I was waiting for 162. I actually have a bid. This is. Oh, we didn't even attach this to the sticky note, I don't think. But we just talked about it. Wow, this was a heart attack waiting here on AMD. It went from the worst name to first name, and that's. We have to be. We are honest. And so anyways, go find me on here right now as AMD is coming back in to the downside. So what I lied about was I said I'm waiting for 162, but I actually just looked down. I have a bid at 164. So I'm going to take that. 162 was this bottom, the pre-market bottom. That's why I mentioned that level. But I do have a 164.05 bid to come in. If that hits, great. That's my next out. So that's where we're at right there. So again, the number one stock here is going to be AMD, and it's a monster. So hopefully that will stay in the pocket now. Look, if it retraces back up, it retraces back up. I mean, right now we have a very, now that it's coming back into our level, this is the lowest it's been since we held this. Oh, shoot, guys, $4 right now. Let's go. We just talked about 164.05. Why do we have to wait for that? Let's just take this right here, right now. That's good enough, guys. There it is. Punch it out. There it goes. And of course, the 164.05 comes in. What did we get? We got 25s there. Boo. We gave up 20 cents. We are booing. This is the kind of day we're having. We are booing a $4 winner right there. So that's what it is. It's another one for you right there today. How's it going, Rob? I know, Rob, AMD, NVIDIA, we're still on the NVIDIA train, right? As far as quality? Okay, AMD's, they can't hear what you're saying, but AMD's a few hiccups. Okay, but
I kind of shook the head yes. It's like,
yeah, we're going to wait for the NVIDIA earnings report. I mean, realistically, like I said, man, from worst to first, I'm happy about it. I'm glad Neil had that Intel trade because those were the names, man. It was AMD. We just were not patient enough, but still, hard to complain. But it was that Intel one that was just as good. And then for me, I've only traded 3 names today. 1, 2, 3. One of them's Starbucks, one of them's AMD, and one of them's Sir Softy, which, by the way,
I think the shorts are good until 2 o'clock probably.
Okay.
I mean,
I'm just waiting at this point.
The market did take the lows, so the bears have it right now. This is the NASDAQ. You're 1 point. Okay, you know what? We get to 2%. 2%'s been that magic number on the NASDAQ where if we get there in the middle of the day, we tend to slow down. It's just it just happens. But when you look back out here, the stair step was not necessarily the easiest, but you broke the lows, you're headed lower. The idea to be thinking short retracements kind of made some sense when literally everything was to the downside after earnings, with the exception of Starbucks.
And it is downside, actually.
Okay, no, actually they did sell, but when we sat down today, they were up. But everything is to the downside right now. Looking for some shorts to pop. We'll see if there's going to be anything that sets up. But I think you just got to be real patient with it today. It was one of those days where it wasn't necessarily like the easiest. You had to find those kernels of weakness when you got them. I just want to get over to some of the EVs. I know we've neglected Tesla and some of that stuff, but look at Tesla. If you're not long off the open, you're probably looking for this to break it out, buy off VWAP. I like Rivian as a better setup off VWAP. Maybe I get it, maybe I don't. If I don't get it, fine, fair enough. But at the end of the day, I'll end up being 50-50, but ARM and Intel, like I got hit on Nikola, but Intel was better. Got hit on Oxy, but Intel was twice as good. Got hit on Apple, but Intel was twice as good. And that wasn't even the best. ARM was actually pretty solid as well. You're not going to win on all of them, but you've just got to make sure that you play your key levels so you have the right out. Now, I am back on the bid here of Oxy, so it's coming back into that 58 level. It just bounced me off. I missed this play. I like this level here. I'm going to still dip by it if it gets down to 57.60 as well. But I went 0 for 1 on Oxy. I'm going to take a couple shots at this dip and rip idea because it's not always at the open it does it. Sometimes it's been making the low. Like 10:30, it made it the other day. You actually had a low at 1 o'clock the day before that. So it's just dip and rip, and it closes usually a lot higher. Let's get to the desk, see what's going on in things that are not the chips and big cap tech with Adara.
Yeah, to kick things off in that area with electronic technology, I do have to point out Boeing, oddly enough, one of the few positive names in this sector after its earnings report, despite not providing 2024 financial guidance due to its ongoing issues with those 737 MAXs. Of course, we do technology services is down after Google and Microsoft earnings. But let's look at some of these other sectors here as well. Health technology, pretty strong across the board here. Eli Lilly trading higher after Novo Nordisk making new all-time highs on earnings. So a bit of a sympathy move there. TMO, Thermo Fisher trading lower after earnings. Finance pretty strong here, a little bit mixed, but generally pretty green here as well. Consumer services a bit more mixed. Producer manufacturing. Utilities pretty positive here. Consumer services, MasterCard looking really strong here again off of earnings. And I do have to point out energy minerals a little bit weaker after we just got those oil numbers here, guys.
Oh man, thank you, Ms. Adara. Wow, $5 for AMD.
Eli Lilly's now red, by the way. Like Eli Lilly was flying with Novo Nordisk, but it just turned, it's a 0.5% down. On the daily, this looks like a reversal candle to me. I'm in the stock. It is what it is. I recently sold some. I'm at 70%, I'm not selling anymore. 77% of the original position. But that turn is pretty wild on Eli Lilly, just to give you guys an idea of what just happened. There's not a green candle on the 3-minute chart since it made that high at 663. So if you are thinking about longing this, it is dropping like a hot knife through butter. And predicting where the bottom is going to be is difficult. The first level, it's obvious, is the one that it's at right now in 639, 640. But Eli Lilly was strong. The key being was. Yeah. That's not a strong-looking chart at all.
We just said we were $5 in the money because we were down to broke 164. We went to 163.60. Man, oh man, this is just keeps on going, man, to the downside. Yeah, Marshall. Look, I mean, to say NVIDIA's dead and all that stuff. What's up, Marshall? Again, thanks, man. Thanks for coming through. Awesome. Let's just have a look at NVIDIA. Like Neil just mentioned, we'll talk about our longer-term portfolios as well, which is why you should definitely check out something. I don't know. Me and Sharif are having a watch party this weekend, so we're gonna watch the podcast together. So stay tuned for that. But the idea is no, I just think it's funny at this point because I know from now on I'm gonna be asking you every Monday about the podcast. So all right, so we'll do that. The other thing is that long-term style. We talk about it all the time, and like I said earlier this morning. I sold some NVIDIA at 625 not too long ago. I don't think there's anything wrong with taking some profits here, but then I do like what Neil talks about as well, where if you sell something, you can try to get it into something else. I don't think it's time to do that yet, so I'm not buying any NVIDIA back. Their date for report, I do want to buy it. I still have AMD. Like I'm way more long on NVIDIA. I remember getting made fun of for buying NVIDIA at $100 and Amazon and all that kind of stuff. But so this has been a great trade. Their earnings is not for a month. So it's Feb 21. So you're quite a ways away right now from worrying at all about an NVIDIA print. So let the market sort of do its thing. I think if you're going to buy something down here, I mean, I always like the 50-period moving average. That's 515. Believe you me, if it goes down that low, then we will be buying some of that. So that's not coming in yet. Microsoft, on the other hand, I'm almost thinking about buying some right when we get off the show. I mean, this is my largest position. I love the name. I think the quarter was huge, and we're just going to wait for it. We are green today, trading. I told you we have AMD. That's all that matters for me. But again, Microsoft, not pretty. It started off great, and then we broke. So now you're looking at that level of 403 trying to hold. So now if that breaks lower, I'm not going long on anything, even if Google comes in. I don't have any bids. The market's low. We're down 1.5%. You can get a hell of a lot nastier than this. I'm going to wait. Even the ES right now, bank stock. If I'm going to go long anything, it might be the King. This might be the only thing. I don't even know what it's up today or down. So it's still up. So if I'm going to do anything, it's going to be on things that I know can be relatively strong. So let's just wait on this play for JP Morgan. Maybe a dip into 176, but this is more the name that I'm looking at than anything else, JP Morgan.
I tend to find on the Fed type days, like when you have the announcement coming, probably do the least amount of actual executions in the middle of the day. I think that's usually fair to say, so want to keep that patience. I like Rivian here. If it can hold VWAP, I'll try to go for the dip off VWAP. So like a structured trade, like dip off VWAP, scalp to 16. If it breaks 16, then we can look at the 16 break. The high is actually 1601, so I mean that break for me would be if it breaks 02s or 3s, and then try to go into the long. So as it rolls back in, I'm looking for the dip buy in Rivian. It does help a little bit that Tesla continues to try to do the same thing. So you're getting the same-ish setup on that. ARM just broke down. I'll give you a reason why in a second, I think anyways. If it breaks 70, I want to hold Intel till 2, but ARM, I probably take this out. That's a huge liquidity bottom that it had at 69.60. When I see a wick that big, I want to get out in front of it. But that's been, like these chip names have been all over the place. So I think on a Fed day, I think you could hold that low on ARM. But the reason I think we just had that next leg down is SMCI has given up VWAP. This was the one for me. When it started to slow down on SMCI, that was the point that it seemed a little bit safer for those shorts. So in the chip names at least. And now that you're breaking VWAP, I think that breaking VWAP here is going to get you that next push. SMCI was leading things for a bit, and then NVIDIA also gave things up. If NVIDIA gets to 600, I think that's a good psychological level. I won't be trading it on NVIDIA because I like these two chip names that we're in. Microsoft, I don't think we're getting this 401 after all. It just wants to hold 402.5. So might be sitting Microsoft out. Like that went from so easy on the long side to like scalp loss. Still stay green on it, but it could have just hit it and quit. It would have been the easier thing to do on Microsoft. now red on the day. That I didn't think was going to happen, but it's about trading at the end of the day, right? Because you've got to find entries and find levels so that even if it goes opposite of what you thought, you can still end up green, and that's only if you stay disciplined. Oh, last one, plug power. Plug is your squeeze name of the day. Talked about squeezes yesterday. What do you need for a squeeze? You need shorts to be covering somewhere and breaking out highs, covering somewhere and breaking out highs. The next level is a $5 level. I don't think it gets there anytime before 2 o'clock. If it does, then I probably have hopefully made a dip buy. I wanted the quarters. It's now getting to 50s. I'm moving that up to like 430s. I want the next available consolidation. It just hasn't done one since making a fresh high here on Plug Power. Big short interest here, up 20% already. Wow.
All right. Shout out to Brian Shannon, man. More love on Twitter. Okay, so 160, 163.50. Like, I'm not, yeah, we had, if you're not, honestly, like, if you want to join me and Sharif on the watch party, you can. But you have to also watch out for the market recap show. Yesterday we had Brian on. We talked all about AMD buy levels, support and resistance levels. The man right in front of everybody scalped an $8 winner. Okay, live. Like I told you, traders are staying late. Look at this, 162 long he had. It was some anchored VWAP. Ripped up. He got at 170 or maybe it was 168. I can't remember. But live on the show, Mr. Brian Shannon. You know, if that guy's staying late, you know, you guys should be staying late. So I'll leave it at that right there. So make sure you check that out every single night. No better night than tonight. Do we have the earnings board? Let's get that earnings board ready. And as we get it ready, let's do this. All right, what's for lunch? Well, look, yesterday was chicken. And it was pretty good, I guess. We had egg salad on top of the salad, but the salad was really weak. It was egg salad plus tomato plus cucumber plus spinach. Was not that good.
Mostly spinach.
Yeah, mostly spinach, so it was not that good. But today, we got a little bit of a better one. If you like chicken, I've got a lunch for you. Today's chicken dinner winner is a lunch, and it is the Nashville Hot Honey Chicken Sandwich.
That sounds great.
I think that sounds pretty decent right there, as we're sitting on a $4 winner.
McDonald's has a new spicy honey chicken sandwich, too. It's actually pretty decent. I've had it.
And they have the McRib is back, so shout out to that.
It's back.
And so are the Dutchies at Tim Hortons. Okay.
And blueberry fritters are back.
Yes,
as well.
and walnut crunches. Nashville Hot Honey Chicken Sandwiches on, what? Artisan cheese buns? It's my understanding that we don't really put cheese buns with Nashville hot chicken, but that's okay. Earnings first, but we're still, Ramin, we're still doing the lunch. Okay, hold on. I don't want to give everyone. All right. Now, what is for lunch? Nashville hot chicken sandwiches on artisan cheese buns with country potato salad. All right, it's earnings, let's go. All right, what do we have tonight? If you're joining tonight, what you will see is you will see Qualcomm on tonight. I have no idea what's to the left of this. Is there anything bigger on that? Tomorrow morning,
no.
Peloton. All right, so Qualcomm tonight. We'll get Aflac. We'll see if we get some ducks running around here as well. MetLife, yeah. Honeywell tomorrow, good industrial name. And then if you're going on any cruises, why not choose Royal Caribbean? That reports tomorrow. But yeah, I hope everyone's having fun. If you can't tell, I do.
No, there's one more there. Sirius.
Is that tonight?
That's tomorrow morning.
Yeah,
they
yeah.
have a 28% short float.
Good
So throw them in there. I remember the last time they reported, we were like, what the heck? The short interest is that big on Siri? We actually care about this stock again? And we do because of that short float. So it could definitely move. So yeah, tomorrow morning, Peloton, I guess I could always squeeze. But it's really just about Qualcomm tonight. And that's a biggie. Qualcomm is a biggie, right? Like, you know, if everyone's interested, and yeah, everyone likes a little Apple. But if you're looking at what's going on in those the handset space, then you know Qualcomm is going to be for you. So big earnings tonight. Of course, we still have the Fed as well. And after earnings, let's see what's going on with the USD as the market continues to tank.
All right, let's go over to Money Talks with Adair, who's been waiting patiently.
Really rough look for the DXY ahead of the Fed meeting today. No rate cuts or changes expected, but we did have quite a steep fall. We were in this range, like I've been saying for quite a bit here, this 103.30 to 103.70, just shy of 104 area for quite some time. Falling kind of to the lower end of this range here, still above that 103 for now, though we did get some economic data earlier today. ADP non-farm employment lower than expected here, 107,000 versus 145,000. We also had the Chicago PMI coming lower than expected, 46 versus the estimate of 48. But definitely a weak look for the USD going into the Fed decision. Definitely going to be important for the USD, so definitely one to watch, guys.
Yes, sir. And shout out to TX Trader. You got the Affirm short. Good for you. Like, it's just one of those short the pops on Affirm has worked. It didn't quite get to the 44 level there, but if you worked it off 43.5, I think you could have given it a little bit more room. That's risking like 25 cents if you gave it to yesterday's like morning high. So I think that's a pretty good setup because you're already 2 to 1. I won't be jumping into it this low. Rivian did take out that top. It broke that 1602 level just now. Sorry, 1601 was the high. I got 02s back in. If it holds on to like the 95, great. I want breakouts to work right away. If it doesn't work right away, then I go hunting back in for the VWAP trade that we're patiently waiting for here in Rivian. Still nothing for me on Oxy. You know, if I get the Oxy dip, I get it. I think it's at that point now where, you know, we might have missed it. It's entirely possible that second dip in Oxy, try to grab it off the 58 level. If it continues to go, I got to look for another setup other than catching the absolute bottoms. I took the first dip and it lost. The next dip, I'm still waiting for it, but I can probably cancel that now. We got to be patient for this. The dip and rip on Oxy has happened every single day. Today, I just might have missed that higher low. Ultimately, you don't know where the bottom is going to be. I was pretty confident we wanted the 57.70s in here. If we got there, it just happened to not get there. Going to hang on to ARM, going to hang on to Intel. You know, both those. There's your wick top breakdown, and that's the thing about ARM that set it up and why it was an easier trade in terms of setup. You've got a significant level, support at 71. Then what happens at the open? When all the chips are going ham, it wicks the 71 level and immediately rejects. Short back underneath, and then the pullback on ARM. Intel was a similar story, except it never broke the 43 even. So it never really put you to that test. I mean, it was against a little bit, but it never really put you to that big test. So the NASDAQ continues to fall. We talked about all the small caps that we're looking at here in today. So be patient. You know it's a bit of a Fed day. We're not going to get any change on the rates. So it's all about trading the key levels. Maybe we get Microsoft at 401. I'm leading to think that it's looking less and less likely the way that's trading.
All right, just to everybody, man. I wanted to talk quickly about Microsoft because I still want to get this long. Like, if we can break this 404.50 area right here, that's going to be a long that I'm going to take. So I just want to, you know, bring that to everybody's attention. But we are right now bouncing off the 50 period. So that's a problem. But again, if we can get above, I like this break right here, 404.50. It's really 60, 65, 70, but we're going to take it through 50. So you will see that. And then again, we talked about this. Welcome to 5. I will be 2.5%. But when the market opened up, I said time to buy Boeing for your long-term account. Now you had earnings, so forget about it. If you're lucky enough to get it down there, fine. But I don't blame anybody that waited for the open. So I think 204, 205 for Boeing is what you need. So if you have that, it's against that 175. It's working. Congratulations on another $4 right there. Bang, make sure you hit the like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe today.
So there it goes, man. Boeing, nice huge move to the upside. That's good. All right, Win, Oxy, Neil's already talked about that. Let me check out Roblox. That's another name that everyone... Oh, I am fully aware that AMD is now back up to 165. I mean, we only have a $3.50 winner right now. But the thing is like, I'm holding for a break lower. I'm not getting out of this. So if it goes back up to 170 and I lose $1.50 on it, fine. I'm holding $4 in the money. It's definitely something that we can do. And it's not that I'm being stubborn. I have like 15% left. It's waiting for the bottom, I think is what we need to do, right? Because you started from the bottom, now we're here, so we might as well wait. Roblox breaking through again. There's just a lot of talk on this. I haven't stepped in and bought any lately. That $40 level was something that I feel like will haunt me, but we have February 7th. I really think Roblox is going to nail it, man. I mean, more daily active users, the ad space, I just waiting for their AI and some ads to show up everywhere on Roblox. And I think when they announce that, man, this name could go up like 30 or 40%, honestly. So I just watch out for it. I really like this name, but I have not rebought. And I'm thinking about this is a great level right here, right now. So 38 could be something. That's 36 bottom. I don't know, man, but we'll do some more work on Roblox. But this is one of the names that I really, really like to come through. So we'll wait for that. And then NVIDIA, Neil, people saying at a make or break level. Does that mean $6? Yeah, so it's doing the same thing today. You could, like I said, man, we lit this place on fire with AMD, but NVIDIA would have been a better trade. Well, I don't know if it would have been or not, but they both went to those levels that I could see people shorting, 620 and 170. So either way, man, this is a $12 winner here, which would be great. Or you look over at AMD and get a $4 or $5 one. So either way, man, yes, I do agree. NVIDIA is sort of holding some keys here, and it's about to get unlocked, and you're not going to like what's in Pandora's box.
Yeah, you might not at all. I see a lot of questions about remark holdings. At least a few people have asked about it. And it's not doing remotely what it did yesterday. Let's get that out of the way. Like yesterday, this stock was ridiculous. Like it went from the middle of the day. Like it's kind of wild. Like this was a 40-cent stock and got to $1.60. That's not going to happen every day. It's certainly not unlikely to happen today. If it can get through this pre-market high and hold 80s, though, there might be a little bit of a relief trade back into the dollar level. This was $1 in the aftermarket, like 106. I would think that little support turns into a bit of resistance. But if it starts to hold the 80 level, you'll probably see me jump in there. Well, you won't because we're gone. But I'll let you guys know. I think I'm looking for an 80 to hold. Maybe give it to VWAP and then look for it to get back into that dollar. But I would suspect it has some trouble getting through that dollar level. Rivian's still working that little breakout from 16 even. I want to be out into 1630 on Rivian. So 16 to 1630. My stop is underneath that 95. It just held it on a dip. So Rivian starting to go. You know Tesla's a little bit strong as well. Be patient. Trade key levels, all that good stuff. The Fed's not going to move the rates. What matters is what Powell says or doesn't say in the dot plot, which we'll get all after the fact. So, we're back at 2 o'clock. Don't go anywhere. You got Learn to Trade with a Sharif and a Dara. It's going to be a wild one. I'll pop in at noon as always and give you a bit of a lesson. You could probably guess what it is today, but I won't let you know till 12 o'clock. But I'm pretty sure most of you might have somewhat of an idea of what it might be. But it's 11. We're back at 2. For now, it's a Professor and a Dara. Ciao.
What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade, formerly known as the Midday Show. That right there